Hi, my friends. Long time no see. So good to be here. I'm so happy to be here with you all today. Um, yeah, I wanted to do a little Q&A sesh and just catch up with you all, see how you all are doing. Thank you all for subscribing to the channel. I finally, after 5 years, finally reached 5,000 subscribers. And so I thank you all for that. So, hello, Luna These. Thank you so much for joining me and for your support. So, I hope you can see and hear me. I'm going to just turn on my little banner as I get all set up for my Q&A sesh and get you all caught up to what's going on with me. Okay. Perfecto. Thank you for letting me know that I am cool and clear. Okay, that actually brings me to a point. So I had taken a pause on doing lives. I was enjoying doing live streams on the channel, throwing cards for people or talking about decks or any kind of things that we want to talk about, maybe true crime stuff, all the things, right? And the internet was just quickly degrading, like going down in quality with each live stream. And so I was like really struggling, like, what am I going to do? Because the work that I do primarily is virtual. I do most, if not all, of my readings, my client readings, my coaching sessions, my teachings. I do that all via Zoom and online, virtual. And so I had to do some research and I had to make it an investment into getting Starlink. And Starlink is created or backed by Elon Musk. And I struggled with that a bit, but at the end of the day, I had to do what I had to do. And it was an investment. I had to spend quite a pretty penny. I had to let go of the Dominican like Wi-Fi situation. Because it just couldn't support the work. So what I'm hoping is now that I have Starlink on board, I can do more live streams again, have folks on who want to join me, or I join them on their live streams, or just, videos that we collaborate together. Now I will feel confident in my internet. Now, sometimes the power goes out. There's planned power outages here from time to time, not as frequently as when we first got here back in January 2021, but there's unplanned power outages due to storms or just the infrastructure is still a little shaky. So, yeah, but I'm still digging it. Still digging it. Now, I am super excited. Like I said, we have 5,000 subscribers, and so I want to start thinking about ways to celebrate you all for supporting me all this time. Whether you're new to the channel or you are one of my day ones, I want to do something. Giveaways are great, and I will probably do some sort of giveaway, but they only scratch a tiny like surface. So I was like, well, do it. Maybe I'll have like a few of my tarot reading friends on and we throw cards for the peeps. Maybe do something like that. I don't know. What do you all think? What do you think? How should we celebrate? How should we celebrate? So, yeah, I got my little notes here. And while I am answering questions, I'm going to be flipping through a new deck that I got that I really like. Really like. And I have another one, a Kickstarter that hopefully will be here within the next month or so. I hope. But I don't want to talk more about that until it gets in my hot little hands. But I do have a deck we'll be flipping through today. I am a tarot reader. If ever you all want a reading, I always have the links in the description box down below where you can book either through my website or through my Etsy shop. You know, You can see my reviews there, and see my peeps who support me over there. I also have a membership on Ko-fi. But it's not just any membership, it's a coaching and mentorship. And I work really closely with my members. Like um, my Rebel Soul members and my Cosmic Seer members, I meet with one on one. Rebel Souls once a month, Cosmic Seers every other month. And then we have, as an entire membership, group meetings up to, well, it's usually 3 times a month. And I have a lot of content for those who are wanting to be a professional reader. I also have content just really supporting goals and manifesting things and trying real easy things to bring forth the life that you want. And I try to keep the prices very economical. So definitely check out my Ko-fi mentorship. Um, because yeah, it's near and dear to my heart. If I'm not here creating content, I'm probably over there creating content. And I do share a bit more about my experiences here, or I'm more comfortable sharing about my experiences living abroad in that little circle than I am for the greater public. I realized in all these years of content creation that I do tend to be more of a private person than I thought I was. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you for that. Yes, Etsy, I am Abundant Life Shop, not Abundant Life Tarot. I did that intentionally. When I got my business license in Sacramento, they give you the option to have a couple of names associated with your business. And so Abundant Life Tarot is it's the website, as people come and book there, or it's the channel, it's other things, all Abundant Life Tarot. And then I wanted to differentiate for Etsy, Abundant Life Shop. So thank you, Luna Lise. I appreciate you. Oh, I love your name. Cup of tea with cup of tea with $3 worth of sugar and cookies. Oh, gee, I am in love with your name. Thank you for joining me. So yeah, so I just, I love mentoring people and coaching people. I have a heavy background in like business world, but also in exploring law of attraction, new thought, as well as I'm now full time working as a reader and coach. So I think I can help in one way. And actually, some of my members on Poised Sleep, they're not even readers. They may be coaches, or some of them are in advanced studies with university, or deck creators, or other types of healers. Not just tarot readers. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you for saying that. Eli, thank you. Ellie? Is it Ellie? Eli? I want to get it right. So, yes, it feels good to be back over here. Let me tell you, I've been missing creating content too. I have. You all, when I look at my channel and it says I have 1,000 videos up, I'm like, but a good chunk of those are like private client readings, and they just kind of YouTube includes all of the videos that I've done, unlisted or unpublished versus and published, not versus, and published. So yeah, but I made a lot of content. So there's a lot of stuff that I did create for you all to watch, but I never published it. And then I always felt a way like, it's old now. It's like when I lived in California, old. It is like old when I first started the channel and I didn't really know what I was doing, old. But there's unboxings of decks that are now out of print. There's unboxings of decks that have gone mass market. So if people have told me that they want me to just go ahead and publish, and it is what it is. It's just old content. But I'm also going to be making new content. So that's in the works. In fact, I got to record a couple of videos for the occasion of autumn. I'm excited. I have some decks that I'm going to work with. And yeah. So yeah. What decks are you all working with lately? And are you one of those ones who changes up what deck you work with seasonally? Like when autumn comes, you're like, I already know what I'm going to work with. I've got this deck, this deck. Or for my folks who are in the southern hemisphere, you're about to go through spring. And so that's exciting. Springtime, I mean, they're all seasons are all about new beginnings, endings and new beginnings, but there's something about spring that's just so magical. Anywho, so yeah. Now I got through all of that. All right. Now I'm going to show you the decks that I've been loving on. So I went back and started back using my Gaian Tarot. This is the Llewellyn edition. And I looked high and low for this edition. I didn't want the red feather shiffer because it was like, I'm not feeling that cardstock much. But I found it. I lucked up on it and got it for a great price. And I love this deck. And yeah, it's just so beautiful. I've been using it again. I used it a lot when I first got it a few years back, but I stopped using it. As new decks come in, that happens. Here's 8 of air, traditionally 8 of swords. Not what you would expect, but that's what I like about different decks is it expands your understanding of a card's meaning. And I appreciate that. Some people do not like major changes to the cards, but I can appreciate them. Will I always gravitate towards this deck to work with it like in client readings? Probably not. Sometimes I do, though. It is one that I have used in client readings, and it reads just fine. Is it a deck that I'm always called to work with for my own personal readings for myself? Sometimes, not all the time. But when I use it, when I'm called to, I feel like it's for a reason. Hi, my friend. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me. It's so good to see all my friends. Hello. How are you? Yes. For those that don't know, my sun sign is Aquarius. So Adam Bluefire, he knows how the star card is near and dear to my heart because of its association with Aquarian energy. Star card is one of those cards I look at in a deck when I get a deck. You know, I always talk about this on this channel too, about what are the cards that you specifically look for to make or break a decision on whether or not you're going to buy the deck. And so the star card would be that for me. 6 of Swords would be that for me. Death card, Judgment. The Lovers, yes and no. Depends. But there's some key cards that I look for to say, okay, if you're successful in your depiction of this card, I want you in my collection. My guilty pleasure. Oh, the Tarot of Vampires, what I really like about that one, I hear all the time, is the guidebook. And I had an opportunity, and I wonder if my friend, she's a longtime supporter of the channel, but she's going to be kind enough to send me some decks. I think she has that deck. I never owned it, but a lot of my tarot friends have been getting it recently. And I know folks who own it for a long time. It's one to get, and it'll be a nice fall time deck to explore. It'd be also probably a good deck to do a tarot study on because of that guidebook. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, yes, yes. Hello, beautiful people. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, me and the Super Linares. I was all flipping through and showing you all, but let's just switch gears for a moment. Look at I talk about this. I'm planning on getting a replacement copy. I can't put this one down, and this is why I'm kind of forcing myself to move away from the Super Linares to try something else this season to get myself out of using it because I use it so much. And some people will be like, well, what's the problem with that? Well, sometimes I just want a new, fresher tarot voice, if you will. But let me tell you, I use this daily for client readings, and it shows. It shows. There's a bend to it, a noticeable bend over here, over there. Noticeable bend. The images themselves have held up. Oh yeah, you could see the bend there bad. I love this deck. It just, I mean, come on. I don't know. Maybe there's people out there who don't love it, but I love it. I use it all the time. Yes. I use it all the time. You know who he reminds me of? I think I've said this before too. Sometimes I feel like I'm always repeating myself. This is why I need to start doing content like with other people. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you keep hearing yourself talking. You're like, didn't I say this already? Or maybe it was just in my head. But anyways, he looks like Rick. I forgot the name of the actor from The Walking Dead. I don't know. I'm a big fan of like zombie films and stuff like that. So, and shows. This Two of Swords. Y'all see that? And love the Lovers. This is to me. I love this Lovers so much. Yes. A Nine of Swords is also another one. I think the Sword Suit is where I'm like looking to see if a creator has got it for me. Like that deck is meant for me when I look at the Suit of Swords and see how effective it is. Yeah, that's the Nine of Swords. All right. So yeah. Oh my gosh. And the texture tarot. Thank you. I feel like I need to, yes. You and I are here. So I pulled it out because I hadn't used it in a long time. And let me, it's because of the card stock. But I got over it. I get over it like from time to time because it's a great deck. It reads so well. And I used it like for a couple of weeks back and for client readings. And I used to use them for client readings back when I first got this deck. It's got this cute little bag, little thing. What do you call it? I don't know. I love it. And I have to say, I used it a lot when I first got it. And the cardstock is like cardboard, but I'm rough on cards. And the texture tarot seems to have held up. I'm like, well, there's a bend. There's a bend. This card is what made me put it away for a long time because I was like, I bent it because I'm rough. I riffle shuffle, I overhand shuffle, I do all the shuffling. So I bent it. Let me see if I can find you all some of my another card, Eight of Cups, that I look for. Yeah, the Super Lunaris really works well for client readings. It does. I love this Five of Cups. This is a really beautiful deck. And what kills me every time is the creator, like when people like complain about it, like on like maybe in her Etsy shop or somewhere, maybe on social media, on her social media, like, can you change the cardstock? She's like, no, it's like eco-friendly. I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. So that, but I have to respect it. She's like, nope, I'm not changing it. And so I'm like, whatever. All right then. Okay. That's fine. Oh, look at this Knight of Pentacles. Can you see that? And let me show you the Queen of Wands. I mean, it's just beautiful. Card backs. I'm okay with the card backs. Here's the Devil. And then I'll stop showing. Every time I'm like, I'm going to stop showing you all. But then there's like one more card. Six of Swords. Not a boat, but still a vessel carrying you along. And then, okay, for real, last one. Realization, which is traditionally judgment. Okay. I mean, okay, one more. Like, just one more. That's 9 of wands. What is this? Like every single card I want to show you. Here's a star because it's all the cards that I love. All right, let me see. Let me see what we're talking about here. Let me see. And yeah, let's see. Could you do a future reading on ghost spirits, hauntings, why some remain trapped on this plane? Maybe some specific. Oh, I would love to do this. And I would love to do specific cases. Because sometimes, like, if I'm trying to explore this theme, it could be so expansive and so many reasons why a soul or a spirit may be trapped. So, specific cases helps me. Like when I did the Lake Lanier, and I put a call out to people to give me specific cases of where they heard of unusual drownings. That, I mean, there's some drownings that are clearly like obvious, like somebody fell into the lake. They were all partying. It's like obvious, maybe, it's just obvious. And then there's some scenarios that are like, what in the world? For example, like the gentleman who was electrocuted. I mean, obviously there's a scientific reason for that, but they said he was the one and only person that's ever happened at Lake Lanier. I thought that was interesting. I might have to explore that. But yes, I'm going to make a note of that. I always like to take notes of what you all recommend. And by the way, I am looking for suggestions for content. We'll talk more about that in a moment when I dig into the Q&A. But yeah, give me suggestions, inspire me, and I will do my best to make it happen. So yeah, a reading on that would be fun. That's right up my alley. Right, and it's timely, right, for Halloween. Hauntings and some remained. I should just take a screen grab, huh? That would be easier. Remain trapped on this plane. As y'all watch me write specific cases, because I'm all about the specific cases if I can find them or if someone recommends them. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one with bent cards. It's just like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. I just so disrespectful to my decks. But that just means I just love them into pieces. So literally, look at my go-to deck with the keywords. I mean, this is just atrocious. I was thinking about buying a new copy just to have as a backup from when this one really disintegrates in my hands. Oh, so yeah, it's just like, and that didn't help. Just, my God. But I love them. I love them. Yes, I love it. And every person that, when I mention the Super Lunaris, they're like, yes, I love that deck. And it's just like, we all just get it. We just really love it. I don't know if I've ever really, I think maybe one or two people I've encountered who were like, that's not the deck for me. But most people are like, I dig it. It says a lot in such a subtle, discreet, and charming way. It really does. And I've been really needing to lean into it for client readings, especially when we were recently going through Mercury retrograde. I needed it especially to be able to just, help guide them with the wisdom of the tarot. All right, let's see. Oh, are you talking about the textured tarot? I remember when she was the creator was creating it, and I was like, oh, I just know you belong in my collection. And truth, yeah, truth, all truth. I just the cards, it's just really like, I don't even want to show y'all. It's like it's cardboard. It feels like cardboard, but I'm not a cardstock snob. No offense to people who care about cardstock. I get it as a reader. I get it, but I work with also what I got. Yeah. I like mine's had rose gold until I rubbed it off. Doesn't It's not really there anymore. It's gone. Benito. Just gone. Benito? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh yeah. I love the devil. I think that the devil card in the Super Lunaris is what inspired me. That and the why can I think of it? Delta Enduring Tarot. That inspired me to do the video that I did on my devil cards, my favorite devil cards in the tarot. And so I went and picked, I don't know, like 20 of them, something like that, and did a video just highlighting my favorite devil cards. And obviously, um, that one was in there. Yeah, I like it a lot. I do. Yeah, I like the layers of the textured as well. It literally it's texture, like you can almost feel like it's textured, like. And I'm totally into collage art style for my cards, so it works. Do it. Great question. It's a fabulous question. Um, yes, my first paying client, I do. It was a classmate from like middle school, junior high, and we went to high school together for a brief moment till I moved from the San Francisco Bay Area to Sacramento back in the 90s. And fast forward to many years later, 2017, she connected with me and she saw, I'm putting on my little branding. I'm like, I've opened up an Etsy shop and I've got a website and I'm going to start doing readings. And so she was my very first customer, and she got like 3 readings from me. And then my first customer that I didn't know at all came through a site that I put my offerings, my listings on this shop or site called Bonanza. I think it's still around. And I got a few readings on there, surprisingly enough. They let you sell readings, and so I did. And I do remember that lady, and my prices were really, really low, and she would just buy back to back to back to back to back readings, like I would say like 4 or 5 at a time. And I had to learn a valuable lesson, of many lessons with that client. And eventually I was talking to somebody about that one, not my classmate. She was my good friend when we were classmates. But the stranger who found me on Bonanza, she somebody gave me guidance. It was like, she has an unhealthy relationship with tarot readings, and either you tell her, you're not going to read on this particular issue anymore, or you cut ties because it's stressing you out, or you could raise your prices. And so I ended up raising my prices, which ended up helping me in the long run at the end of the day. And she went away. I think she got one reading after I raised my prices, and she kind of complained. She was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see you anymore. And I was like, oh. So yes, thank you for the question. That's a great question. Um, yeah. Oh yes. Another thing, first, so that was my first. I've talked to you all about my paying clients, but my clients, like who I was like, aside from people who are like friends and family, and my readings for myself, were coworkers. Um, I worked for an insurance company, and I worked in the arbitration unit. So, you know, we were a special little group over there in the ARB team. And it's quiet, and sometimes it gets boring. And so I brought in a couple of decks to put on my shelf in my cubicle. And I always had crystals all around in my cubicle space, and little things to let people know what I'm about, that life, right? And one day, but the tarot decks that I had, I always would keep them in my locked. You know how you could have a locked shelf it. You lock it at night or whatever when I leave. But sometimes I would just keep the door closed. But every now and then I'm pulling reference guides or books out, and the shelf would be open, and you would see a few of my little tarot decks on the shelf, and people, their eyes quickly zone in on that, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, wow, you read tarot?" Yes, I do. And they're like, "Can you pull a card for me? I've got to go and have a meeting with HR." I'm like, "Oh, sure, let's pull a card." So it became where I was kind of known around the office streets that I am a reader, and I managers and upper management. It was kind of interesting. My colleagues. It became to a point where I had one colleague that was getting a little too much for me with her reading requests. So at that point, I was like, I think it's time to go pro. I think it's time to do this as a thing. So I had my very much 9 to 5 job, and in the nights and weekends, I was doing readings. Like people were paying me to read the cards for them. So I love that. That would have been 30 years ago. I practiced on my coworkers at the time. They were skeptical until I mentioned that they were going to sell their home. She got goosebumps, right? I love the goosebumps part. And I love with coworkers because it's like the sky's the limit on what you could really talk about. And they get hooked. People get hooked. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really try to be considerate. I'm not trying to like price gouge people. I now that this is my living, I just know that I have to get paid for it. But I really try to be mindful. And I don't live in expensive California anymore. That was an expensive town. Like expensive times. It was very and here, my cost of living has drastically dropped. So, but yeah, it feels good to do something that I love. Like it's near and dear to my heart. It's a calling for me to help people in this way. And, I appreciate the universe supporting me by bringing folks who resonate with me and vibe with me, and that my needs are met. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate you saying that. Okay. Kim, have you ever had some unusual experiences with the tarot deck? For instance, I had a card that flew out and then slid under my sofa by itself. I found a card placed on my chair one morning. I have. I have. And what's weird is I'm very much about accounting for every card, every single card. And I count them. Like if I felt like there was a card missing, I will sit up there and count the 78 cards or however many cards in the deck to make sure. And then there will be occasions like what you're talking about that happen, like um, cards mysteriously popping up or flying out for no reason. And it's just literally something, it'll be a word that I've been mulling over all day. I'm trying to think of when that happened. It happened recently. There was just a word that was on my mind. It was an unusual something. It was something to do with true crime. And it wasn't even a true crime, one of my true crime decks. It was like one of my little fluffy decks, and it flipped over, like the card just flipped. It wasn't even gusty winds. Sometimes I have the windows open and it gets gusty in here, but no, I'm like, it was almost like the universe, like, or spirit or my guides, like your train of thought, what you're thinking about, you're on the right track. It was like, for me, that's what I took it as a sign. But yes, we could have a whole conversation and have people just talk about their little uncanny, magical experiences. Yeah. Yes. It's amazing. Reading for decades. See, there's some of us who freaking love the cards, and we could do this forever, 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 And then there's some people that they're like, after 5 years, they're like, not for me. And I respect every lane, But I have a feeling I'm in this for the long haul. I think, I think. Oh, that you know what? We have a lot in common. We have a lot in common. So I did. I started out in commercial claims handling um, property auto, like commercial auto, like the big trucks and general liability. My special account was McDonald's, which was a hot mess because I was only 19. I had no business. Like, I'm like, how did you entrust me to handle these claims? But they did. And then I got scared and burnt out on commercial claims. I felt I was in over my head. So for a while, I got my license to sell insurance, my agent broker license. And that didn't last long for a variety of reasons. So I went back into claims and I did personal lines for many, many years. So, yeah, yeah. And I have friends who worked in um, for insurers who insure boats, snowmobiles, and ATVs. And I did handle a couple of like workers' comp claims, and my specialty was injury handling as I got into my later part of my career. Um, Injury, fatality. But I have friends who specialize in those specialized kind of insurance insurance offerings. I did a couple of inland marine claims. So yeah, I was all over the place. General liability is quite interesting too, because I also helped a claims adjuster with a claim against a school board, a sexual harassment claim. And that was fascinating, reading all the records and the witness statements. And it's just an interesting thing that people don't really know about. That there's a whole world of us adjusters, and we're tight knit, similar to this community. Hello, welcome, my friend. How are you? Thank you for joining. Glad you are here. Uh, yeah, the notifications. I guess I should tell people like I should be like more diligent. Like probably have to unsubscribe, resubscribe, or play around with the notifications to jog it back into life because I hadn't been doing lives in a long time or even premiering videos. So maybe YouTube forgot about me. That's a possibility. Yay! I'm happy you're here. Oh, thank you. Mystery. There was one instance you were doing a reading on a woman who disappeared in my television. I watched on TV, made a white noise sound and shut down. And other people have mentioned that they've had moments too when we do these readings. And let me tell you, sometimes you all can't even hear or see what's going on here at the reading table because sometimes I have to even edit it out. The lights will flicker, which I live in a country where the lights could potentially flicker, but sometimes it'll be like we've had lights, no problems. Sometimes it'll be all of a sudden there's you can see the stars, but then there's a clap of thunder and lightning. And you're like, where did that come from? There's not a cloud, and it'll just be like, or something to fizzle out, the sound to cut out, and then it's like, or the camera will shut off, and I get goosebumps, and it's like, oh, what's going on? Thank you for watching that series. There will be more to come. Sometimes I take little breaks to give myself and give y'all a break. Give y'all a break, give me a break, because it can be heavy. And I do appreciate when you all do readings or throw cards or just, you don't have to do a full-on reading if you don't want, but you pull a card, and kind of give your take in the comments section. It helps me to feel like I'm not alone and I am amongst a community of fellow readers. And I do this to bring awareness to the cases for sure, first and foremost, but also it's a place where we can commiserate and talk as readers. It's intuitive as psychics. Of course. Do you do your own personal readings, or do you prefer to have someone else read for you? I hope the question. Yes. Hi, Emily. It does make sense. Thank you for your question. So I do my own readings. Every blue moon, I am called to hire someone to do a reading for me if I feel like I'm too attached to the situation. For example, oh, that's a big rain cloud. I a couple of years back, and it was stressing me out. It was stressing me out, and I was feeling like I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know what to do. So I got a reading in that instance on are we going to be okay? Are we going to make it? And we did, and she was right. I did a reading for when I just was deciding if I wanted to leave my 20-year career, my stability, and to do this full time. I got a reading then. But typically, day to day, I do my own readings for myself. Huh, that's interesting. See what I'm saying? It's like when you're messing with the spirits, you know, kooky, creepy things happen. Do you have I don't have lucid. I am literally watching this like rain cloud coming through. It's scaring me. I wish I could show you all. Lucid dreams. You always give me the best deck Rex. Ooh, there's a gold one and now a black eclipse version. Oh, I love eclipse decks. I love it when eclipses are depicted in cards. I do. I do. Yes, it's very fascinating. I've had a true love for true crime my entire life, even as a girl who should not have been studying such things. And I've always been fascinated. It can be stressful because you can get personally invested, even if you try to keep a professional distance in these kind of readings. You can't help but to get invested, and just getting invested could be, I am Google. Can you all see me? The cloud is messing with the satellite. Which is my fave? Oh my gosh. My fave is hard to say. People know me for loving the light seers. I'm like really worried about this cloud. The light seers tarot. And that is one that I always go to. That one, as you can see, is banged up. Super Linares is another favorite of mine, another banged up. And I have a new favorite that I wanted to show you all and share, but I think I might end up having to do its own walkthrough. But it's the Unfolding Path. Adam, did you recommend this to me? I think you did. I didn't. I knew about the indie version, but I didn't get it. And I'm loving it. I've been using it. I had it only, you all, for like a week, but I just fell instantly in love with it and been using it for client readings as well as readings for myself. Um, yeah. Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. Cloud right over me. It was. Can you? Can you move? Oh, now it's lightning. It's like, okay. So I'll probably do a flip through on a separate video for that. But I would recommend the light seers. If I had to recommend. Oh, flashing lights, electrical disturbance issues in my life, multiple homes, workplaces is usually spirit trying to communicate friction of your energy and theirs. Exactly. And something that you need to something that you really need to focus in on. It's usually for me, what I find. Yeah. What was I for? Yes. That was a great. Hello, Andy in Arcadia. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. Thank you. You all have to check out my friend's channel. And yes, Andy, I'm happy you are here. One of my Poised to Leap Ko-fi members, near and dear to my heart. You are welcome. Oh, Karina, the Oracle Throne, another one of my Poised to Leap members. Thank you for popping in to say hi. I'm happy you all are here. Yeah. Have you ever done readings on a person or situation that everyone disagrees and goes against all evidence, opinion, but turn out to be correct? Yeah. Yes, that happens. Um, Sometimes it makes me, in terms of like mystery mystic readings, it makes me not even want to sometimes do them because people get really attached to what they believe to be true. And, I'm here for everybody's opinion, everybody's intuitive hit. Um, People have their own personal beliefs about Nicola Bully. I did an extensive series on that case. And when it was all said and done, when I finally got to the end of that series, I think I did like 7 or 8 videos on her case. I realized, no, it's not what everybody's thinking. And that sucked because everybody had their own personal opinion about it. And they were like, her partner did it, and her sister is involved, and her best friend has something to do with it. And I'm like, and yeah, people still have their opinions on it. There's other cases I could think of too, but that's one that stands out in my mind. Oh, thank you. You said one of my texts. Okay, all right. Well, cloud cover. So if I had to recommend, I have them here because that's one of the questions that came through when I put a call out 2 questions. Now, the one that I'm really loving at the moment, well, let me tell you this. My timing oracle, I use a lot every day in client readings. And I use it, in conjunction with tarot. I do timing in my readings. I do predictive readings as well. So not everybody is into predictive readings, but if you're wanting to do something like a reading on how long will something take for me to make this happen, you could do timing in that way. It doesn't necessarily mean, oh, it's going to happen on Saturday. You know what I mean? So there's different ways you could work with the timing oracle. I really love it. I use it daily. And yeah, not anytime soon. Decades. I even have a next lifetime card. I love my moon cards in here. So what I do, and I even have my clients doing this. If a full moon, I'm like, okay, the next full moon, and they go and they like search on the, internet for when's the next full moon. So I love this little deck right here that I made. I would recommend it if you are into timing elements. Next lifetime, 3 to 5 years, within a week. So I did a full flip through of this one recently. Another one that I absolutely adore, and I knew I would, is my, and I don't just use it for career and money. Like, I don't recall. No, it wasn't the forecast today. I was like, I think I did see that. Literally a storm. It'll be sunshine, beautiful, not a cloud in the sky, and then it'll. And I did a flip through as well. And I use it for readings for myself and for clients. And it's a good all rounder deck. It's called Your Career Money because there's aspects of it that deal with career money. And I wanted to make a career deck that included things like toxic work environment, or I'm trying to think of other things that I don't usually find in career money decks. You have stability, explore your options, assets, car, home, business, pessimism, poor attitude, unfulfilled, overspending, recognition, motivation. Okay. Say yes. So there's multitasking. So, oh, no more. So if I had to recommend a deck that I've created, it would probably be this one because you can use it in all kinds of readings every single day. I used to only, or not only, but this was I got this off of Etsy from, I think her name's Maruka X. And this is a career and money oracle as well. And I do use this sometimes in conjunction with this. And I used to just use this before I made this one. But now I sometimes just use this one with tarot, of course. For ask, let me see. I did recommend, yes, you did. Unfolding Path Tarot. It's totally your style. I do find that it's a deep thinker. It gives answers that make you think, not a quick fix one like Light Seers. Exactly. And for example, I had a client, she's really going through it with this guy that she's seeing, he's in another relationship. And she was like frustrated with him. He backed out again on seeing her, et cetera, et cetera. And she emailed me or sent a message to me, and we were going to link up last night for a reading. And I was just shuffling, pondering her situation, and the Queen of Swords popped up out of the Unfolding Path Tarot. And so I talked to her about, what I think, why I think that particular card jumped as I was pondering her situation before we even started the reading. Yes. Hi, Miss Moonlight. You all have the best names. I always say that. You all have the best names. Thank you for stopping by on your break. I appreciate it. No. Okay, so I wanted to do something on, and maybe it's time now. Maybe now that, readers aren't really doing a lot of reading on the case, I could maybe explore Summer Wells, maybe my take is on, where are we at now? I know a lot of people have done readings on, oh, please, power, don't go out. I know people have done readings on, in the beginning, and they have their assumptions. Maybe it would be time. I just felt like there was so much energy on her and like on the case, and like a lot of people, it just seemed like it was very contentious. I don't know, and I don't know a lot about it, and that's sometimes the better thing when I do mystery mystic readings, is when I don't know a lot and I go in without all these preconceived notions, like, oh, this person could have done it, or maybe this happened to her. So that might be, people have asked me to do it too, to do the readings on her case. But I was always kind of like, I don't know. Oh no. Oh, yes, yes, yes. You have one with the earth. Now the card back is different. My card back. I'm gonna order the one that I made with the card backs that are similar to these. Now as I make my decks, this is how I know they're mine. This is what I put. Like here. Oh, also if you want a deck where like if somebody's like, I want to know what my partner is going to be like or look like. I don't know, and so you're like, well, I don't know. So I pull out my defining characteristics oracle. I also use this sometimes in Mystery Mystic Monday readings. If we kind of know that somebody may have lost their life to someone else, like someone took someone's life, and we want some physical characteristics, or even not just physical. Sometimes it might be like walking abnormality, like their gait is off. They are maybe bow-legged or pigeon-toed or something like that. So eventually I like to add more cards to this as I think of more defining characteristics. So you see how the card backs have this, or in this case, this. But my copy of the one with the earth oracle does not have it. Does not have my little thing. Or like, here's secrets revealed. Or this one. I have fun with this one, making this one. Conception and fertility oracle. Yes, that is the immaculate, no, not immaculate, but conception process. That is, I have a timing deck. It drives me crazy when multiple conflicting timelines come out. How do you navigate something like that? Very, very good question. And I did a timing video, like talking about timing, and I'll see if I can find it before the live stream is over. But if not, I will pin it in the comment of this video. Share timing video. I did it like this summer where I recorded about that. But that's a very good question about when you get conflicting information. The very first thing I try to do is make sure that I pull one card, like one tarot card, because that'll kind of let me know if I'm in the right direction. For example, let's say I get waxing crescent moon in February, and then I have the Seven of Swords. That tells me I'm on the right track. Why? Because the swords for me represents the season of winter, kind of mid going into late winter, and it represents the timing of months. And so when I see the February card, for example, I'm like, okay. So then I hone in. I'm like, okay, so then the next, or the waxing crescent moon in February. I guess we're there. I do in my deck. I do go down into hours, like today, tomorrow, wee hours, evening. I think morning. I wish I would. I didn't want to get into minutes, but I forgot to create a yesterday card. But But what to answer your question, I listen to my intuition, and I will sometimes understand what spirit is trying to say. Like if they're asking, well, when are we going to work this thing out, this relationship? And you get a conflicting thing. It could be like, well, if you start, like, let's say I got the next week card. If by next week you really start working on the internal stuff that came up in the reading that you need to work on while you both are having a break in the relationship, by February, you can expect, X, Y, and Z to happen. And I look to the tarot to tell me what is X, Y, and Z that's going to happen in February. So sometimes they're not conflicting. It's like telling you two different time frames because there's something that the querent or client needs to do in those two different time frames, or there's two different things that can manifest. Trying to think of another scenario. There's plenty of examples, but you're giving me an idea because we could dial a bit further into timing. And when you have those little nuances there, that happens. No, it's me, Emily. It's not you, it's me. There's a storm. Can you hear the thunderstorm? there's a thunderstorm going on. So I have a satellite internet. So the cloud cover is it's covering. Yes. Hello, Ishika Asawa. Thank you for joining. Yes. Maruk. I can't pronounce it either. Maruka? Maruk X? Great decks. And yes, some people are like the decks are pricey, but they're quality decks. Like I've banged the Career Money Oracle up and it's still holding on strong. And it's a glossy deck, but the way it was the deck was designed, it just works. And she has a ton of different decks to choose from. Oh, how does this work? Are you looking for a reading? I'm not doing readings today, but I will be doing probably card pulls with friends, other tarot readers in the future. I'm assuming that's what you're asking, but if not, let me know. Yes. Not I don't have time to do pulls today, but I do from time to time on Thursdays. At this time, I do sometimes do readings for my peeps. Oh, I thought she's on my list. Ellen Greenberg on my list. Because I was like, I hope maybe I should consider doing that sooner than later. It reeks of elite corruption cover up. It does, and it ticks me off. And that's why I said I might be a little biased. Sometimes I have to like either pause on doing a reading when I feel like I'm like my stuff might come out, and so I have to like have some distance about it. I had to community too, and I just peripherally was like learning about it, and I was getting overwhelmed by the Summer Wells case. I was like, oh my god. So I can only imagine for those who are really invested, really concerned for that sweet little girl, like it could be a lot. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got you. Oh, yeah. I am planning on making a true crime deck, or not a true crime deck. Well, let me say this: a tarot deck, and that could be a theme. I'm also considering doing little mini expansion packs for as if it could get any bigger. The Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle. It's 160 cards, but I want to take those and split them into little separate ones, and then people can pick and choose. It'll keep the cost down on the deck, and people can pick and choose what true crime elements they want to work with. And I'm going to add more. So more to come. Yeah. It's the defining characteristics is cool. And I could think of many more. After you make a deck, you're like, oh, I could have added this and added that. But I enjoy using it. A true crime tarot deck would be awesome. I know there's a couple out there already. I haven't bought them. I was more interested in buying the Oracle, but maybe it's me to make it. I can make one. That would be awesome. Oh, we're not doing readings today, my dear. Hi, Amber. Thank you. I'm just coming back and practicing live streaming today. So I do on occasion on Thursdays at this time do readings, I'll pull cards. But today we're just hanging. We're just hanging. All right, Miss Moonlight. Thank you for joining. Have a great rest of your day at work. Yeah. Right. And with tarot, it like for me when I'm working with timing, um, it it gets me down to maybe days or weeks or months, but it's not going to get me. I mean, I suppose I could look at a card number and be like, okay, it's going to happen at 10 o'clock because I got the 10 of wands or something. I don't know. But I like that it's kind of general to seasons or days, weeks, months, or years. I like that. And then I use my Oracle decks, and I have another one. This one. This one's only like $10 on Etsy. I have another one that sometimes I'll use in conjunction with my Oracle, my timing Oracle, and I'll pull one from here, one from there, and that'll help me dial it a little bit more in for the querent. And sometimes I'll just be very honest with them. Sometimes Spirit is like, this is in flux, and it's really dependent on you, dear querent, on what you're going to do next. This is the timeline if you go this path. This is the timeline if you go this path. And there's also people in the mix with free will that could kind of shift things. Kind of like when you're watching, like for meteorology or hurricanes, and how there's different high pressures that kind of come and bump them along. That's similar to what we do. We are energetic forecasters. So we can only get it as, we can only get so far in there. Now, psychics are a different story. They could probably tell you by the minute. Yes, I do tap into psychic abilities. Absolutely. I think we all have the innate ability to do so, but I'm a reader when it's all said and done. And then there's mediums and psychics who might could dial in a bit further than we can. And that's okay. There's plenty of room for all of us. Okay. Six of Swords for me represents either mid-winter or the timing of 6 months, up to, within, or just after 6 months. If the card is in reverse, it will say not until after 6 months, or not before 6 months, is how I interpret that. Great question. Yay. Hi, Tony. How are you? Yes, time is linear when it comes to following up actions to get to an end result. Exactly. So, people will be like, well, I want to know when. Well, sometimes it's depending on what you're going to do or not do. If you do nothing, if the person you're asking about does nothing, you just both are kind of on the same course and you're going there, okay, we could get it pretty accurate. But if somebody in the mix is hopping along doing this or that, so yeah. Oh, hi, Terrell student. I like your name. Everybody has great names. I'm always going to say that. It speaks right. You could be a lifelong Terrell student, by the way. I plan to be. So, welcome. Yes. Thank you, Luna Lees. Oh, I really appreciate your Nicola Bully and Rachel Morin readings. What's the name of the deck you used that were small squares? Example, I and Boot. One of my all-time favorite Oracle decks. Where are you, little deck? It's out. Because I was thinking about doing readings on the 2 LA models that recently passed away. And some people are saying there's a connection, but Los Angeles Police Department saying they don't see a connection. So I have my true crime decks over there on the table. So that's the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle. Y'all should know. I love this deck. And I have the Bloody Hell edition. Love that deck. Because there's extra cards. But this little one, this is my baby. I love this deck. So much. So much. People who've been watching my channel for a while know how much I love this deck. Like when I used to do monthly favorites videos all the time, like faithfully, without a doubt, this deck is going to pop up 7 months out of the year. And I don't know, like it's going to pop up. I had to refrain myself from constantly talking and gushing about it. Yeah. So that's the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle. One of my faves. Absolutely. It's not for everybody. And it gives me a Lenormand feeling to it. But I just love it. And you don't have to just use it for true crime Oracle readings. I've used it. I've had people actually purchase in my Etsy shop. When I have it up in my Etsy, I have a reading listing that works with this deck primarily. And people are asking career questions about it. it reads really well. It really does. Yes, good question. And I knew exactly when you said I am boot, I was like, oh, that's the Mildred Haynes. Yes, good call. Good call. Yeah. It's not a dumb question. It was a wonderful marketing strategy. I think that the creator from Deviant Moon, it was brilliant. I forgot his name. Oh my God. Patrick Valenza? Is that right? Um, brilliant. Created this whole elaborate story that is so believable. I want to, and there's a part of me, you know how like you want to believe in Santa Claus? I kind of want to believe in Mildred Payne. Like, I'm gonna believe she's real, but I know like it's not real. But the whole asylum story, brilliant, brilliant. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Yes, I heard one viewpoint on Nicola Bully from a conspiracy channel I follow that believes she was abducted and taken to an underground base, and it's a whole massive cover up. For me, that case isn't solved. And I agree. I do think that there were elements in my reading that it just there's some loose ends that need to still be accounted for. And I'm sad because I don't think we'll ever get the certain answers. But in terms of like they were saying like her sister's involved or like her best friend and all of that, I just was like nothing in for me in the readings I did it supported that. But in terms of like something happening, there was a lot of loose ends, and because her family, now this is a lesson for me that I constantly remind myself of. If a family is they have their beliefs on what happened and they are tired of people focusing in on it, I respect that and I just let it go. It is not worth hurting them any further for me to seek the truth. The truth, if it's meant to come out and be revealed, will be revealed. That's how I operate. Because all it's going to do in the end, me continuously talking about it, I see other readers continuously talk about it. All it's going to do is hurt you and hurt the people, the family members and friends who are trying to move on for better or for worse. You know what I mean? So I get it. I think there's some loose ends, but do I believe like what people were trying to say her sister has something to do with it or you know, yes. Millie, that's right. It's like Mildred even has a nickname, like, and we affectionately call her Millie. Like she's a whole person with a mama and a grandmother and like the whole bit. Like brilliant. I was sold. I was sold. You're welcome. Babs. No, I don't have that one yet. Yet. I don't. How does it work together? How do they talk? Yep. I was like, I thought it was Patrick Elizabeth. I was like, am I getting that right? Am I getting that right? It's okay. You're allowed to ask your questions. And guess what? I love how Adam brought up about Nicola. There's a lot of people who have their beliefs. And I have my own, as Kim, I have my own personal beliefs. As a reader, I'm just demonstrating what's coming up. And I share with you all. And some people are like, well, how can you have separate beliefs than what is coming up in the reading? Because I can. I'm a human being. I feel like one way, I probably tend to feel like how Adam feels, but then I'm like looking at the cards. It could, and not even just this case, there could be other cases where it's like, um, trying to think of one. There was a case that I didn't cover intentionally. It was Alexis Ware out of South Carolina, and a lot of readers, psychics chimed in on it. A lot of people have their theories, and I knew like I didn't want to throw my reading into the mix because I didn't feel like fighting with nobody. Because what if something comes up that totally goes against what people believe? I have to choose my battles. I hope the truth comes out about that case. Oh, Have you done any readings for that family of four? There are three dogs that were killed. The supposed suspect's wife was staying with them. Oh, I don't think so. That doesn't ring a bell. Can you give me the name of like the family, the case? I don't, or what state? I know. I don't know if I know that one. My God. They are the only two I have names for. I mean, you are asking them pair for sugar and spice answers. I like that. Sugar and spice. Okay, Alberto Roland. Okay. Oh, this is this a new one? Is this new? Come on, pen. Alberto. I'll look it up. So I can assure you I have not yet. Didn't even know about it. Didn't even know about it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer some questions that came through on Instagram and YouTube, I think. Yes. How do I use these cards here? The Archetype deck by Carolyn Miss. It's a great question. That question came in from Vessel Knit off of Instagram. So I'm going to say your usernames as they are where I got your question from. So thank you for your question. And I use these, I actually even have like a little write-up. The way I use the archetype cards. So in love readings, I love to pull one or two cards for each person who's involved to see what their archetypal energy is that they're bringing to the relationship at the moment, right? It's like we can then visually see how each person is contributing or detracting from a relationship. Let's see. I want to show you some. And there's like a reversed and upright light attributes, it says, and shadow attributes. So in a practical sense, for love readings, it works for me because then my querent or client can see it kind of black and white. And they're like, yeah. Here's child, wounded child, hermit, gambler. And recently I put out a call in the Facebook group, Abundant Life Tarot group on Facebook. I was like, I'm looking for some new archetypal cards because I want to start working with archetypal energy. What I like to do with this particular deck, this archetype deck, is it helps me to work with the court cards of the tarot when I'm teaching about court cards or talking about it. And I linked in the playlist or the description. I linked the playlist in the description box earlier today, where I was working with this deck and the Lightseer's court cards and showing you how I intentionally work with that. I'll talk more about that in a moment. Let's see. And for career readings, I may pull one or two cards to see what archetypal energies a potential boss may possess, or the potential energies of like your teammates, or to hone in on how the querent is presenting themselves in an interview or at work. So I think it's quite useful. And then for teaching the cards, teaching tarot, they are absolutely fabulous to work with. I'm reading my notes here. Fabulous to work with when it comes to the courts and the majors. So check out my playlist because I show you how I work with them. You can intentionally seek out the archetypes for each of the courts or randomly pull them and see what archetypes the universe wants you to assign to your court cards. It helps you to get more familiar, especially if you are looking at the courts in the ways of representing people or what people are doing or what it represents. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So that was a great question, how I work with this deck. So I do use it in readings from time to time. especially my readings that come through my website or through Etsy, and someone's like, I'm going through it with my partner. And so I'm like, this would be a great one to see, and I shuffle whatever cards jump out, we rock with it. And I read the light and the shadow attributes. Move you over here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just looking here. Okay, so it just happened a week ago. I will take a look at that. I'll take a look at the case. I didn't know those. I think I might have heard rumblings on the news, but there's so much going on in the news lately. It's like hard to keep track. It's like, what the hell? It's a lot going on. Yes, oh, I'm assuming you're talking about the archetype cards, I think. Very practical. Sometimes I just need practical, Sometimes I just need practical. And I don't need high esoteria going on. I just need, give me some basic words here. Yeah, it does. I think it does. I know some people are not a fan of it, but I like it. It's like 80, it's an 80 card deck. It's a lot of cards. I'm curious about the masculine. What somebody in the Facebook group recommended the masculine archetype. And I am curious because obviously I probably have a lot of feminine divine leaning decks in my collection. I'm biased, but I'm curious to know. Well, hello, Giovanna. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me. Another Poised to Lead member. Thank you, my dear, for joining. Oh, and let me take my little banner off, but I am thankful. Welcome you all, my dear subscribers. You all are amazing. You really are. I have to say, you're so gracious to me and so kind to me and to each other, and just give such enlightening and encouraging messages. Even when we have differences of opinion, it's just like we're like talking. Like if we ran into each other at the work cafeteria and we're like, okay, are you eating lunch by yourself? Can I join you? And we're just like commiserating and talking, and I just love it. So thank you all for being so awesome. Yes. I can't remember. Do you use the relative tarot or? Oh, thank you, Tony, for asking. Okay, her oracle deck, I think it's the Beloved Dead, and the relative tarot's on my wish list. Now, I come to like with the relative tarot. I'm like, do I want to try to seek out and find the indie version because I missed out on it, or just bite the bullet and get the mass market and just live in love? Probably will do that. But I'm for sure going to get the Beloved Dead. It's on my wish list. I've already did a deck interview with my fellow friends here, and we've all agreed that that would be a lovely addition because I am planning to explore more ancestral readings for clients. I'm feeling ready to do that. And so I think that would be a great addition, I think. Yes. Yeah, that's your opinion. Yeah, that's okay. And maybe I'm not. And maybe not. But I do know I help people. And that goes a long way. And you're entitled to your opinion, my dear. You are so entitled, and that is okay. You're speaking what some people are in the masses saying. You know what? That's your opinion. And I'm not going to be the first to say, oh, I'm 100% psychic. No. I think we're all, each and every one of us, have that sixth sense in all of us. Some of us exercise it on a daily while others don't. That's your opinion. I'm glad you're able to join too. Oh, what? I believe in science and medicine. You're making a generalization, and I'm glad you're here because let's just talk about it. Because let me tell you something. No, I'm college educated. I believe in science and medicine. I was an analyst for years. So no, that's the generalization, but that's cute. It's precious. It's precious. Very precious, my dear, because just like we can make generalizations about all sorts of people, atheists and people who believe in God and Christianity. I'm just not going to go down that road, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to knock you for your opinion either. I'm just going to stand on mine. Okay. Okay. Do you know of the Tarot of the Sorceress deck, a mass market one that's elementally based? Suits, gold and black. Love that deck, and it's very underrated in tarot. Yes, it is, because I never heard of it. I never heard of. You see, this is how we live and learn. I just love when people come into a chat. He's like, are you coming in here to try to enlighten us? We are enlightened. Okay. We're enlightened. Yeah, he could be a troll. And it's great because I kind of need this. Because it's like, oh, come on. Go spout your nonsense somewhere else. It's cute. Yeah. Blessed be. Bless that person with their opinions. Bless you. May you be blessed by a tarot reader someday. How about that? All right, let's get on to the next questions. Because I have a few. All righty. So we have from a dear friend and supporter of the channel, but she goes by, is it Agape Glenda, Miss Glenda, on Instagram. And she actually had quite a few questions that I appreciated. She has her tarot related questions as well as her personal questions. Because I said, you all can ask me tarot related, business related, or personal, all the things. So how did I get started on my personal tarot journey? I'll say it in a nutshell. I've actually had a reading when I was like 16 years old. Someone gave me a reading. I went to like a little psychic shop in Oakland, California, and got a reading. And so I played around with palmistry, any little thing that I could easily get my hands on, card playing decks. But in terms of tarot specifically, it was after my son was nearly killed in I can't even call it an accident, but I've mentioned it on the channel a few times. He was 13 at the time. California Highway Patrol was chasing a drunk driver in my parents' neighborhood. I went in, he was getting out of my vehicle. He was hit, nearly killed, was in ICU, intensive care unit for almost a month, just shy of a month. And to kill time at night when I was in the hospital room with him, I was on Amazon, just like perusing. And then you know how they said, you may like this, and it's a recommendation. And it was like a tarot deck. And I was like, because I'm always on there like perusing like metaphysical decor or astrological books at the time, or books on crystals. So it kind of made sense that a deck would be recommended. And I was like, should I? And I resisted, and I ended up getting like a couple of oracle decks to get myself comfortable with it. And then I was like, no, the questions I need to ask is bigger, and I need tarot, I think. And so while I was still in the hospital, I ordered the decks and started practicing. And the ICU nurses, when they would go on break, they would come in and ask me to like pull a card and practice on it. I'm going to get emotional. And it was just something that helped me, because he had like so many surgeries during that time. And I just needed some support. And people were in the community were great, super supportive. But sometimes they're not there at 2 a.m. in the ICU, So it was just me and my cards learning. And then eventually I started asking questions about like buying a home or career decisions for myself. So specifically with tarot, it came in when I was going through a very big crisis. What made me start reading professionally? I guess I hadn't quite touched on this. I mean, I told you all over the years, but some of us get a calling pretty soon into our reading practice where we know I really want to do this for others. I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. And so I kept having that tug early into my reading practice. Once I got it down, understanding the meanings of the tarot, um, then the next step was like, well, let me practice on people. So it was a progression. I started practicing on my sister and my friends, and then it was my colleagues in, at the office. And then I was like, I don't want to do readings for people I know. I want to do readings for strangers. So then I was like, well, what do I do? So I started this channel, and I started an Etsy shop, and I started my website, and that's how I got started. And I just felt this calling to do it. Like, this is what I want to do. And it just kept progressively growing and growing. That's pretty much it. Which do you prefer most, Tarot or Oracle? And do I read Kipper and Lenormand? It's a tie between Tarot and Oracle. I have more Oracle decks than I do Tarot because I'm very selective now about the Tarot decks. Oracle, it's not a defined system. So it makes sense that you would probably have more Oracle because each creator does it differently, different keywords, different art, and it's all, so I give myself a little more leeway when I'm buying Oracle decks than with Tarot. So if I had to choose, I guess it'd be Tarot because I could kind of use them as an Oracle as well. They are Oracle in a way, but I don't want to choose. I do have Lenormand decks, but I don't have any Kipper decks. I am curious about Kipper. But yeah, I know a little bit. I know my way around Lenormand a little bit. I wouldn't bust it out on like a reading for a client though. Tarot is usually my home skillet. That's what I would say. Do I think I'll do more celebrity readings? Yeah, I do. I actually enjoy doing them. Not all the time, but I'm enjoying them. So if you all hear of something that you think would be great for a reading, let me know. And do I read playing cards? That's how I started out, was reading with playing cards. Not as much now. I'm very, very much into Tarot and Oracle, but that is how I started getting into cardomancy and card reading, even as a young person, as a young teen. So yeah, I think playing cards are cool. I may probably go back to it, but I'm having so much fun with Tarot and Oracle. So yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I feel so I'm back. Feels good to be back. People who believe it, so yeah, we know, babes. I'm just getting caught up. Yes. Why would that troll even be here on a tarot channel if he doesn't believe in it? They are just looking for a fight and to belittle others to boost their own egos. Absolutely. And I think there's something like, let me ruffle their feathers, or there's something deep down inside that they wish they were psychic, or they wish they could get a reading. You can get a reading. You totally can get a reading. Get a reading. Not just, there's all of us in here are readers. So you could just take your pick. You don't have to get a reading from me. You probably could use a reading, my love. You over here in something you don't believe in. You'd be a great candidate for a reading. Okay? You would be. That's right. Because yeah. I'm a little salty or she, I think Sildra Gorsy's Tarot put out a quick 7-minute video today about counterfeit decks. and whether or not to say something. And I just was feeling so like, I was like, y'all, like people in our community who buy counterfeit decks, knowing they're counterfeit, you know better. Come on now. And there's no excuse because mass market decks have come a long way and they're really inexpensive. And even the mass market publishers are reaching out to indie deck creators to mass market publish the indie versions. So there's no excuse. So I said something like, I got a little testy, but I think that's because, yeah, we're in the shadow period of the Mercury retrograde. Excuse me, miss, I need help, please. If you're here for a reading, I'm not doing readings today, but I will be doing readings for the collective, or not collective, but pulling cards in the near future. Usually Thursdays I go live. So thank you for joining. Sorry. Okay, let's see. And then the personal questions that Miss Glenda had. Thank you, Miss Glenda, for your support and for your questions. How do I like the Dominican Republic? I still love it. It was an adjustment, moving from California to the DR, or the RD as they call it here. But I still love it. It's still very new. I mean, I had 40 years on this planet in California primarily. That's where I was born and raised and lived and raised my children. And so obviously just being here since January 2021 is still new to me. But I do like it. And I got, just in this short amount of time, have seen so much growth in like development, and even their electricity, like their grid is, getting stronger. Like there's not as many power outages, and I don't know. It's just kind of amazing to see that, and the people are amazing. I don't know. They're amazing. I should post a picture of one of our Dominican friends who kind of adopted us. He's giving me a big like kiss on my cheek, and I'm a hugger, and like I'll give you a kiss, like I am a hugger, and so it was nice to know that they're culturally here. Now you can't just be doing that with strangers out here. Now I don't think you could really do that in California either. But my friend groups, we were all huggers, and like, we like give love physically, like, so it was nice to know that was a thing here. Let's see. Besides family and friends, what do you miss most about the States? And yeah, that would be what I mainly miss, is my family and friends. What do I miss? Fast food? There's no fast food here. Now in the capital, I think they have like a Wendy's, a Burger King. I think they have a McDonald's. But we live 2.5 hours away from the capital, and I kind of like that I'm not eating fast food. But come on, I do miss fast food. And what else? Highways, interestingly enough. And at the time, it was the internet until I was able to get on Starlink. I mean, is Starlink perfect? No. I mean, but it's a far cry better than what I had out here. So the Wi-Fi, what else do I miss? Highways for sure. It would surprise you, because out here, the roads, like where we live, we kind of live like in the old farmland. So it's like dirt roads, and then you get to the town, it's paved, but the sidewalks are like kind of weird. So I kind of miss that. They have grocery stores and things of that nature. They don't allow big box stores here in the capital. There's IKEA and Costco and other kind of big box stores there, but not here. And I like it. But it is something to be said about, you can go to like Walmart and like buy a whole bunch of stuff like toiletries and stuff. But yeah. Yeah, that would be what I guess I miss. I'm like, do I miss anything? Oh, really good Indian food. I was like really into like Indian food before I left. Thai food. They have a couple, like they don't have in the town I live in there. I don't know of anyone who does Indian food. And there is one Thai place, but it's with the Dominican spin. And I'm like, no, I want authentic. Living in California, I was spoiled. There's all kinds of food, soul food, Mexican. I used to eat Mexican daily when I lived in California. Now we make our own Mexican food. So I'm not missing out much on that anymore. But now, and my husband knows how to make a mean curry, but he complains because it takes a lot of work. So yeah, yeah. Um, let's see. How are your husband and daughter settling into island life? My husband is getting along well. He's an extrovert though, and I'm introverted. So what is a plus for him is he's immersed and he's able to like pick up Spanish better than I am. He seems to be getting along fine. My daughter is also like me, more introverted. She still connects with her best friend online. She's getting ready to go. We have been homeschooling her. We've tried schools out, like a school out here. We did homeschooling for the good chunk of the rest of the pandemic. And now we're going to ease her back into what's called micro schooling, I think is what they call it in the US, where it's like it's more structured with schooling with other students. We're still homeschooling her, but she's going to be like at school from 8 to 1. So that's exciting. And she seems to be adjusting. We're like, do you want to move back? No. I think she's just cool with wherever I am, to be honest. So I'm grateful for that. And my sons, my middle son, Daniel, who I was talking to, he was the one in the accident, doing well now, thank God. He hasn't come yet, but my oldest has come. Dante has come twice, and he plans to come again. Like, I'm like, dude. But he loves it here, and we love having him here because it feels like a bit of home. What do I love? What do I love most about living in the DR? For me personally, I've been able to slow down in a way that I never would have in California. Ever, ever, ever would I have in California. I used to only get maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep each night. That was partly because I was working a full-time job, and then I have my side business, and then I have the channel. So I wasn't, there's not much time in the day. Plus I'm a mom and a wife, but also because I had severe anxiety there. Even in some of the videos in 2020 that I made on the channel, I can see the stress in my face. And I talk about it like I'm at a near breaking point. And it was September 2020 that my husband and I made the decision, or I just was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to go. And we came. And I just love how people be like, tranquilo, tranquilo, like be cool, be tranquil, and just calm down, you crazy Americanos. You guys are like so like stressed and hyped. The beaches are amazing, but it's really the people and just, there's a language barrier, but we somehow overcome it. And so there's a few aspects, but I sleep 8 hours now. I could not do that. I was taking sleeping pills at one point. I was smoking, and I'm going to be transparent and frank with you all. I was smoking copious amounts of weed. Just nothing was doing anything. I was getting ready to go back on prescription meds to help me with my anxiety. And I was like, no, I need a change of my way of life. And I want to do what I'm called to do. I feel like I outgrown my job as an analyst. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to help people in this way. So I get to sleep. I know that doesn't, people are like, what? That's what you love about it? Yes, because I value sleep. Now I do. I guess maybe I didn't value it as much in the States. How is your Spanish lessons coming along? Not great. Let's be frank. And it was like I said, my husband is out and about. Like even now, he's watching movies, his favorite movies in Spanish. Like he's doing the thing. We tried the online programs. I even had now my lessons when I was getting taught by people from Spain. This couple who teaches people how to speak Spanish was great. I have to actually constantly do that. But when we moved from where we were living at before to here to this place now that we're in, I'm not really getting lessons. I'm thinking about hiring them back on, or finding someone who can teach me Dominican Spanish, because the Spanish folks were great. They taught me proper like Spanish, like past, present, you know how they'd be like proper English. They were teaching me proper Spanish, but it's not the same as Dominican Spanish, nor is Mexican Spanish like the same that I'm used to hearing when I live in California. And the main thing that gets in the way of me learning the language is um, I'm always on the lines, talking to people in English daily, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed daily. And so I got to work on that. It's still a big goal of mine to learn Spanish. I'm not giving up hope, but that's where I'm at. And I just like to be transparent and honest with you all with what's going on. And then her last question is, are you and your husband still going to do the lifestyle vlog channel? Absolutely. Couple of things. I found out working with my husband, or just working, and I kind of want this to be more of his baby, but then there's part of me that's like, no, kind of a perfectionist, because I've been working on my channel. So we sat down last week and not practice, but we have like about 50 topics that we want to talk about, like in short little videos. And maybe we take you all around. It won't be like a travel channel, because we live here. It's not like traveling. We're not a travel vlogger, but we want to help people who are thinking about moving to another country from, say, the United States, or from another westernized country. So stay tuned. We actually were working on it last week. Pray for us. Pray for us. Yeah. Let's see where we're at. Okay. Is your family with your gift and practice? Are they supportive? Oh, thank you for that question. It's a very good question. And yes, for the most part, my immediate family, like my mom and my dad, at first they were like, oh, this is just another one of Kim's wild and crazy things that she does, but we love her and we're going to support her. And even my dad was like, I think I knew a reading from you. That's big from him, because both my mom and my dad are from rural Mississippi, and, raised very much in a Christian community. It's so my extended family, like my cousins who are my age or younger, they're supportive. But I do wonder if like my uncles and aunts, how they truly would feel about it. They may probably talk about me behind my back, but my immediate family, my husband, my boys, even my son, my oldest, he reads cards. He's probably at a point where he could even be professional, like he could go pro. And yeah, my sister always been a huge support. So I'm lucky in that way. And I also lived in California. Like it kind of lends itself, to that lifestyle, to be honest. And so we're very far removed from our extended family in Mississippi. We have tons of family on both sides. I do, on both sides, my mom and dad's. And so we're the little offshoot in California. There's only a few of us there from our big extended family. So they're amazing. I'm blessed in that way. It's actually my friends I worried about a bit, because I do have friends who are of the Christian faith, and I worried about those relationships, but they still seem to love me. So there's that. Oh, I would love to come. My sister, please don't, so loud. My sister has been to Barcelona and loves it, and she wanted me to go. We were supposed to go a few years back, and it was like right before the pandemic hit. It wasn't even the pandemic that prevented us from going. I can't remember exactly what it was. There's a huge truck right outside my wall. I'm like, do not hit my wall. I would love to. Wow. And you're English. I didn't know that. I did not know that. And you've been there. Wow. It's on my bucket list to go to Europe, to go to Spain, to check out the spaces and places out there, places and spaces, spaces and places. Yes, 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 yes. I'm like that with my family and friends. Yeah, yeah. It's like, and after a while, I just had to be me. There's a part of me that just kept hiding myself. And you want to know something? The reason why I named my channel Abundant Life Tarot, and why I didn't use my name, Kim, Kim the tarot reader or whatever, or even on Instagram, I created a whole new Instagram. I have one that's like my first Instagram account that, you know, it's got, older pictures of me or whatever. Was because I was kind of hiding because I was worried about, I didn't want to put my family, my dad in a predicament where he's got like 12 siblings. I didn't want to put him in a spot where he felt like he had to defend me and so it was kind of like living in the closet, but out in California, I was living my tarot reading best life. So, like if I was to go visit family in Mississippi, there would probably be a part of me that would not share about the fact that I read cards openly. Whereas if I was like here or in California, I'd be like, I'm a reader, that's what I do. I'm ready to start reading professionally and putting myself out there again. It's a little overwhelming figuring out how to start. I'm probably overthinking things. And you and I will work together, one-on-one together on that. Um, yes, putting yourself out there and, find your space that you feel safe doing that. For me, it was YouTube. And it's where I felt safe to talk and to share and to let people know what I'm doing. And also putting myself out there with friends and taking the risk, but just saying, hey, I'm a reader. Like, how like when friends will say, how you doing? What have you been up to? What's going on? That could be a golden opportunity for you to say, I just took this incredible tarot reading course and I'm so excited. I think I'm ready to start reading professionally now. And they could either ask you, and they usually will probably ask further questions, or they'll be like, you read the cards? Yes. And you could say, you could take it a step further. If you know someone who is in need of a reading, pass on my information. And, and then it's just that, like, a lot of my clients came to me early on because I just simply put myself out there. And word of mouth, like people are like the expats here. I'm starting to get a little reputation as a reader. So just the other day, a person I know who knows another person, they were like, I heard you give fabulous readings. I need a reading, I think. And I've never had a reading before, but I think I need a reading. I want one from you. And so word of mouth, even virtual readings, word of mouth. So just put yourself out there. Practice owning that you are a reader. This is your healing modality that you offer the world. I take tarot decks with me on my travels, on the move, and have my own mobile altar. Oh, I love it. I love to see when people show their pictures. I think I even have a Pinterest. I might on my Pinterest, a board for like little portable mobile altar spaces where you can maybe it might be a suitcase and you open it up and it's like you've got all your needs and it's all set up. Like, it's just I find it so cool. I'll get it out when I'm in a coffee shop. The public settings help inspire me. And do your readings? Oh, do I do readings in public? That's a great question. I do from time to time. I do. I've done them here once on the beach. Not advisable. Thank God it was a mass market deck. Cafes. I love doing that. And it's always cute. I love to see other people's eyes darting and looking and like, what are they doing over there? And then there is sometimes a person who's curious and like, comes a little closer and looks and like, you want a card? You want me to pull a card? Okay, I'm back. Got kicked off. And it was like, why did I get kicked off? Why? Yes. So, in case you can see me, I do read from time to time in public, especially like new clients, like new acquaintances out here. And I'm like, I don't want you to come to my house. If I build a rapport with people, I have a reading room. This is where I do readings at. So people can come and get a reading from me if I know you like that. But if I don't, let's meet at the coffee shop. My husband will drop me off and kind of hover around. And yeah, but I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Do you have those 2 foot deep gutters by the roads like in Barbados? Yes. Actually, they were just digging. They're digging one. That's where you hear. I don't know if you heard the big trucks. They're working on building one now, like those big trench-like things. I don't know, trenches. Is that what a trench is? I don't know what the trench is. Gutters, yes. To answer your question, not everywhere, but certainly around where we live. Yeah. I want to go to Barbados and St. Lucia. That's that's totally can happen now that I'm in the Caribbean. Like totally can happen. Yes, moving has been really helpful for me. Planning to move to Costa Rica in the next few years. Oh, yes, indeedy. And I hope you do. It is so good for the soul to explore and to that's, there's something to be said about being in America. I love my country, don't get me wrong, but there's been so much learning and growth and peace in learning myself. I learned so much about me in this journey out into the abroad. So I encourage you, and I'm fascinated by Central America. I was kind of like, man, should I have gone to Costa Rica or Belize or somewhere? We landed here and it's great and I love it, but I'm like, I'm going to definitely visit those places. But sometimes I wonder. I love the climate too. Let's just keep it real. I don't know if I can ever deal with harsh winters. And not that in California I was dealing with harsh winters. I mean, come on. But it was cold in the wintertime in Northern California. And I don't know if I could ever do it again. Watch the Spanish series La Casa de Papel about bank robbers hijacking a money printing factory. It's brilliant crime drama and will help your Spanish. Thank you. My husband and I will watch because he's just literally today on this rainy day. Now it was perfectly fine this morning in early afternoon. Movie. I'm going to check it out. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate all tips, by the way. This old brain, she trying. I had a very uncomfortable interaction with a Christian woman when she learned I read cards. It wasn't pleasant, but I stuck to my beliefs. I've been meaning to record a video about that experience, and please do. We need to hear more of that because the truth of the matter is you are going to encounter people. In my early days, when I didn't know much about um, about people being so like in their beliefs that they feel so called to reach out to you. You're like, I don't even know you. And they would, on my business page, on my Facebook page, are DMing me, sending me messages or leaving, not so much on the channel, but every blue moon you get somebody like we got today, the little troll who leaves something. But people just getting all of their feelings about it. And like, you're not enticing me to come back to Christianity with this kind of energy. You're not. So I don't know what you're doing here. Are you making yourself feel better? And so when I realized it's really about them and their stuff, and that I'm going to have to encounter that, that's par for the course. Rare, but it happens. Even when I was a claims adjuster, people had like feelings about insurance workers. They were like, oh, insurance people are just rip off artists. I'm like, no, that's not what's happening here. So every career can potentially have some kind of stigma attached to it. And I just be like, that's your problem. That's a you problem. I'm here loving and letting and living and let living over here. I'm loving and loving on folks. That's what I do. Are you doing that? I don't feel the love. I feel the judgment that your Christian faith actually talks about you not doing. I don't understand. I used to be Christian. I know the game. I know the get down. My family, father and siblings, do not know that I read. However, the women in my family bear the gift. Ah, now I see what you mean by the gift. My mom, an Aquarius, bless her, had the gift but was afraid of it. Yes. To that end, my maternal grandmother, Ella, who my daughter is named after, she had gifts. My mom has gifts, but my mom is not interested in exploring them. But my grandmother would talk to me when she was alive about the gifts that my mom has. My mom has the gift of sight to see, those who have crossed over, whether they're animals or people. I don't necessarily see that. My gifts are, you all see me in my Mystery Mystic Monday readings. You kind of get a gist of what my gifts are. I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, and just an intuitive empath who loves the cards. But my mom and her mom, they were in the South, and it's, at times frowned upon. So the workings that my grandmother would do that would be considered hoodoo, they had different things they would call it, workings, or, they're talking to the ancestors, or, it was like, it was interesting because it was prevalent in the South to do like hoodoo work and conjuring and such. But then there's all this big energy of Christianity, and it just was odd. And so my grandmother she would be totally fine with what I'm doing, and she would be actually thrilled. And she talked about it, but did she go to church every Sunday? Yes, she did. Yeah. So, yeah. And I think that's why in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, like on my father's side, I think they would be a bit more critical. Whereas on my mother's side of my family, they're more open. They are. A few of them asked for readings, my cousins and folk. So, what do you think of the Intuitive Life Coaching Oracle and the Guiding Light decks, both by Kelly T. Smith? I don't have the Guiding Light deck. I think it's on like my Amazon wish list. But I do and use. I do have and I use the Life Coaching Oracle. It's amazing, falls. It is. It's this one. It's chunky. It's big. I think it's 84 cards. It's by Beyond Words. It's the publisher, but you can get it on Amazon. No, it's 77 cards with a 208-page guidebook. It is so good. It was one of the decks I used last year when I went through my first hurricane. I've never, as a Californian, Northern California, apparently Southern California can potentially get hurricanes. I didn't know that. Last year we dealt with Hurricane Fiona, and there were a couple of decks that made me feel better, and this was one of them. I really like this deck. I do. I recommend it. Now, some people don't like how big the cards are, that they're glossy. Again, I take cards as they are. I try to, so you can see how big they are. But the guidebook's amazing. I enjoy it, and I use it for readings for myself. Yes, they work. It could work perfectly fine for readings for clients, especially if I'm reading for clients who are coaches or readers, or also in the same kind of field I'm in. This could work, but as of late, it's just been a deck I use for myself. And it's got a little key phrase, so I like it. I recommend this one for sure. My great-grandmother read playing cards and tea leaves, as it was the part where people saw playing cards and did not associate. And that's why I got into playing cards. I think there was a part of me that felt safe. I had to give myself permission to learn tarot. And how old was I? I was 36. Yes. I had to give myself permission after all those years to be okay with it. But that's what people would do to mask that they are doing cartomancy. And it's also the same with, like, when they assign saints to voodoo and hoodoo, like when you're working with saints, like it just it tries to make it where it's a little more palatable for those who are non-believers. You are so welcome. Always. Always. Well, hello, my friend. How are you? Am I still frozen? Let's see. And we're back. Are you back, or am I back, or we're back? The internet kicked me off. So, Costa Rica, I heard, is magical too. And I'm going to go. And I'm also going to go to Belize because I want to see the Mayan ruins, and I want to go into the caves there. I can't wait. And that's another reason why I'm trying to get my Spanish together. I know Belize, the national language is English, but obviously being in Central America, you're going to be, encountering Spanish speaking people. So I want to be able to communicate with them a bit. It's like I was starting to really learn and practice and grow in Spanish, and then I regressed. It's kind of frustrating. Oh, I didn't know that's where your family is from. That's so awesome. I did not know that. I don't care what other people think of me or my beliefs. I'm confident in who I am. If they don't like it, it's their problem. We are not here to live our lives through others. And ain't that the truth? That's the truth of the matter. We are not here to live our life for other people. Granted, we do have to live amongst them. But yeah, it's just like, come on. As far as we know, we only have this one life to live. I mean, apparently there could be other lives to live, but if not, do I want it to be y'all's life or my life and my beliefs? I had an ancestor visit me in a dream and told me about my mom being a reader back in the day, and found out it was true. But due to colonization, she repressed a lot. Aww. See, and I think that just affirms for me about our ancestors being so close to us. And I believe this because my grandmother, when she was alive, she told me, and my mom probably would never have told me, but it was my grandmother who told me about my mom's gifts and shared stories about them. And then I asked my mom if it was true, and she admitted it. Yeah. I've been an astrologer and clairsentient since I was a child, teenager, and now a tarot reader too, last 4 years. Tarot and astrology are a part of me and have been with me longer than any person, right? And I don't know, the older I get, I'm like, That's all I need. It's all I need. Like, I don't, some people are like, that sounds crazy. No, not to those who understand. I, don't need much. Yeah, I love this deck. I'm assuming you're talking about this one. I love it. It's so good. I'm thinking I'm going to pull a card for us from it. I think I am. Because we're all kind of similar ilk. Do you have the Hayworth tour? I wanted that one. I did. It was on my wish list forever. And then I don't know, is it still in print? It's very twisted. There was one card in there and I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to use that deck with a client reading. I could use it for myself, but I forgot which deck it was. It was like, I don't know. It was gory, but I like it. It's right up my alley. You always kind of know, you and I share similar tastes too in decks. Definitely well said. Definitely. Current feelings of harsh. Oh, yeah. Sorry, my dear. Not doing readings today. I will be doing readings perhaps in the very near future, usually on this time of day on Thursdays. But thank you for joining. No readings today. I do also offer readings, client readings through my Etsy shop, Abundant Life Shop, or my website, abundantlifetarot.com. So if you need a reading, hit me up. But yeah, we'll pull a card from this. And finally, I have one more question that is from, and I'm super excited for this one. But we already kind of covered the question, so I won't go too deep into it. But we have Jackie Crystal Moon. She has a channel. You all need to check her out. This question came in on my YouTube community tab post. And she asked me to join her on her channel soon. She wants to chit chat with me about Mystery Mystic Monday readings, and I'm excited to chit chat about it. So when that happens, when we set a date, and she has the link or the details, I'll be sure to share it on the community tab post that I'll be over there hanging out with her. But she says, you said in some videos that you have a certain number of decks you've created, but there's 6 on your Make Playing Cards account. Where can I see the rest? And the short answer is I have created, let me count them. 1, 2, 3, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10? Yes. Oh, 11. I've created 11. But when I first started making decks on Make Playing Cards, they were really just going to be for me. They were just going to be decks that I just wanted to make with keywords that resonated with me, images I like that can jog the intuitive muscle, like to get it going. And it was like, no, I'm not going to sell these. This is just for me. And then I started working with a couple of decks, and people were like, I know you said you're going to sell them, but can you just make them available just for me to buy? And I was like, well, I suppose there's no harm in that. So that's what I did. So probably after this is my chunky, it's almost 160 cards. I call it my Ancestral Healing Oracle. I made this one first. Or maybe I made this one, my Love Oracle one. So this is like my 3rd copy of it. I use it so much. So I made those for me to work with. This one I work heavily with client readings, and then that one I use with client readings too, but mostly readings for myself. Then I was like, I want a Spaces Oracle. So then I made like this, what I call it my Sacred Spaces Oracle. That one's also not for sale. I figure, aren't there oracles out there that have places? I think, I don't know, but I wanted to make something that worked for me in my readings. How it came about that I create these decks is because there was a specific need, and I couldn't find it in an existing deck, or they would be out there, but I'm like, that's not what I want. I need this, and so I just would make my own deck. So I like that one a lot. I use this one too. Like sometimes when I have querents who are like, Well, I don't want to date online. I don't know what, I don't know where, I don't, like you have the folks who just like, they want love, but they don't want to try online dating. They don't want to hire a matchmaker. So it's kind of like, well, you got to put yourself out there. So why don't we consult these cards to see where's your space? So maybe the bakery. Go to your local bakery, sit there, read a book, people watch, eat some pastries, meet your lover. I don't know. I use this also for my Mystery Mystic Monday readings, but sometimes I just use it. And whatever the keyword is, can work for any situation. So I made that one. And then I made more. These are ones, and I actually did flip throughs. I just didn't publish them to the channel because I'm like, what's the point of publishing these to the channel if nobody is gonna, I'm not gonna put them up for sale. So this is my love repellent. Love the cactus back. Living in a fantasy. This can be kind of harsh. Bad habits, belief systems, secretive, and appreciate. If you all are interested in seeing these decks, let me know. I do have flip throughs of them. I just didn't publish them. I was like, I am not selling them, so why bother? Jealous behaviors, ice cold. So yeah, and then I have, if you got to have a love repellent, then you got to have a symbols of attraction. So I made the symbols of attraction. What might be your most attractive features or traits? So yeah. So I love using these, like, because I do readings. I mean, let's face it, I do love readings primarily, but I do career readings, life purpose readings. But it's just, I like having tools on the ready, like to help me with my readings. And so this was on the ready. So let me see. I think those are all that I have that aren't on in Make Playing Cards, was those. I'm actually, for my love oracle, I want to commission an artist, and I've been working on a guidebook, kind of doing it different. Make my guidebook, and then I want the artwork to follow what I wrote in my guidebook. But everything else you all have seen. You all have seen these. So I won't show it. So that's what happened. I just wasn't intending on selling anything, and people kept asking me, Can you just put it up there? I know you can." And I'm like, I know I can. So I did. So, and then I was like, well, if I'm putting these up for sale, let me at least change the backs and make them look like something. Let me make it look like something. Like, let me do something with it. So that's the story behind that. And those are all the questions that folks had that sent them before I did the live stream. That's right. Let's see. Could you do a reading on the murder of a Hollywood sex therapist? Oh, I heard about that. See, I'm from California. So a lot of those cases I do hear about pretty quickly, because I would still get news alerts from my local news stations. So I did hear about one who allegedly killed by her ex who stalked her. The trial is currently ongoing. Now, my question for you, I could do it. Would you want to explore more about, did he do it or why he did it, like motive? I mean, we know it's not like he sounds kookyville, like he's just crazy, won't let go. Or like the outcome. Are you curious about that? What aspect of her case? I'm gonna write it down though. I hadn't been closely following it, but I follow True Crime and like Law and Crime Network, and I know they've been talking about the case. Amy Harwick. What are your favorite types of readings to do for clients? Very good question. Well, my favorite would be life purpose, I think. I love doing love readings. Don't get me wrong, because I'm well practiced in it, and career readings are great because I can relate to a lot of stuff people be going through. But when people are like on a quest to find out either A, their calling, or, or B, like what are their spiritual gifts and how to best utilize them, and maybe they have a career already, but how to infuse more of their divine gifts into their, or their life purpose into their everyday life. I really like those. Um, I've been dabbling in all kinds of reading types. Um, Even conception and fertility readings I've dabbled into now for clients. Um, Mysterious circumstance readings I've delved into for clients as well as for the channel. I'm thinking about creating like a well-being reading, like listing or something about overall well-being and incorporating my oracle, like the Herb Crafters Tarot, and my crystal, was it Wisdom Healing Oracle, and my Healing Foods Oracle, and like just creating a listing for that. We'll see. But and you gotta love readings. If you're in this, I mean, you don't have to do them as a professional reader, but I mean, people are usually seeking love. And so you gotta kind of have to love doing love readings. You don't, I always understand when people are like, I don't want to do love readings. I get why, but I also do love helping people to navigate certain situations. So yeah, I kind of like doing all of them. Like maybe the more important question is what makes me like kind of groan, like when I see a reading request come through. And I would say, probably like those who are like, I'm seeking love, or when is love gonna find me? I'm like, oh, that's kind of challenging because you have already a misunderstanding about how this thing works. And that in of itself, I wouldn't do you justice if I didn't explain a little bit about my philosophy about love and relationships. And you're waiting for someone to knock on your door. And that could very well happen, but chances are it may not happen. Those kind of reading requests kind of like takes the wind out of my sails. Like now, if you asking, how can I manifest love, or how can I bring a loving, intimate relationship into my life, or what can I do next, or where you're very much involved in the process of attracting love to you, I'm here for it. Yeah, motive is always interesting. I like that. And like the inner workings of the motive, because sometimes it could be just a generic, he was infatuated with her. Well, what about it? Like, what was he thinking? Like, what was going on in his thought process that he thought this was okay to stalk and then ultimately take her life? Like, my God, like what? Oh, and past, okay, I am here for past life readings. I've only scratched the surface. I feel like we all have specialties too. And that one's not necessarily my specialty. I would probably end up referring or recommending someone I know who's good at past life readings. I have done them before, but where I'm confident is probably usually love readings, career readings, life purpose readings. So yeah, that's, I'm like a general practitioner, whereas I feel like past life is like a specialty reading modality. Yeah, I love how there's so many kinds to explore. Yes, me too. And there's endless ways and how to work with the cards and what you're called to do and work with, and and the kind of clients you wish to serve, and that's what's so amazing. There's, I just love it. My favorite type of readings are life purpose as well. Love readings can be draining. Oh God, yeah. Yeah, we haven't talked in 7 months. Does he still love me? Can we make it work? Or even worse, we haven't talked in 7 months, and they don't tell you this, but then it comes out in the cards, and he's blocked me on all social media platforms. That didn't come out. Or sometimes they'll admit it. You're like, I'm like, oh, And so I just want to shake them like, there's someone that will love you for you right here, right now. But I have to hold space for them to be gentle. And then this is why I, as someone who works on the lines, as well as I have my own private clients and do face-to-face readings, I have to take breaks. I have to take at least a day or two off, preferably 2 days off a week, to restore my energy and only focus in on my own problems for a minute, because yeah, it can be draining. It can be draining. You're like, what? You're pining over this person who could care less about you and treats you like crap when you finally do talk to them. And then you guys get together for a hot second, then it's back to the same old, same old. I want more for you. But then that's not even my place to even want more for them. I'm here to read the cards. You know, yeah, past life readings are amazing, especially if you get one. Yeah. Hi, how much is for a love reading here? Oh, well, I'm not doing, if you're talking about in the live stream, not doing them today, but keep a lookout. If you're subscribed to the channel, I usually announce ahead of time that Thursdays I'm doing readings for the collective. And if you are called to leave me a donation for the card pull, I'm grateful. My pricing for my readings, you can find that in the description box under the link of my Etsy shop or my website, abundantlifeshop.com. Yeah, very Aquarian spirit you have, Kim, to want the tangible but wider scoped readings for someone. Classic. What's your ascendant? Aries. And my moon is Sagittarius. Can you believe all that fire and air up in my person, my being? Just craziness. That's why I get a little I think a little hot headed. I'm a little, I can be a little much for me, you know? Yes. Yes. Love readings can be challenging, but I do love them. I feel like I have a gift for helping people move forward and gently deliver that not so good news. And we need you. So I know you were saying earlier, you're ready to go professional. We need you. We need more folks like you who are called to do that work, because that is, sometimes I see people get heavily into judgment zone about clients. I'm a part of different Facebook groups of other professional readers. And I'm like, well, you're going to make life hell for yourself and for your client. Let's just hold space. They're not there yet. They'll get there. And what's so beautiful to see is when your client in a love reading, they're dealing with a challenging love situation, they have an epiphany moment, aha moment when they look at a card and they're like, I get what you've been saying, Kim. Oh my God, I see it. And that is just gold for me. It keeps me going. Is every client going to have an epiphany? No, but many of them do. You can't count them out. Love readings also stretch us as readers. Do you guys prefer in-person or online readings? I personally prefer virtual or online readings, and here's why. Because I like to have all these decks. Y'all know I have a lot of decks, and I like to hand pick and pick cards and decks that I think are going to work. Not cards, but decks I think are going to work. Sometimes I'm called to do a reading, like a video or audio recorded reading at 2 a.m. because I can't sleep. Or, it's early Sunday morning. Oh, that noise, that drilling. And I just want to record in my jammies. In person is a different energy, and it's great because then it's a dynamic discussion, and people are, it's fluid. You're talking and so I don't knock it. I love it. But I also really have, I think, more of an appreciation for the practicality of virtual readings, and you can reach a larger audience. Well, hello, Julie. That's good to know. I'll check out your Etsy shop. Yes, please do. I didn't know if you were a few of it, because I do card pulls from time to time for folks here. But I didn't know if you were asking for a reading. And today we're just catching up because I've been gone for a while. I want to make sure that this thing works. But if you are asking about working with me one-on-one, I would love to work with you. And yeah, thank you for asking. Thank you for genuinely asking. Thank you, Luna Elise. I appreciate you for sharing. Yes, that's my shop. You say you do face-to-face reading. Ask where you locate. Yes, I am in Las Terrenas, Dominican Republic, on the Samana Peninsula. So I am on an island. Now, sometimes I do travel to the States. I go to my home, California, and I do in-person readings there when I go. And so I do in-person readings here as well, but it's definitely word of mouth here. Like, that's how people find out about me. Most of my readings are done virtually. Aries ascendant, Gemini sun, Aquarius moon. That's why we get along so well. And we have a lot of, common interests, common spaces. That's cool. It's cool. It's nice to know another Aries ascendant. Thank you. Thank you so much. When I was a kid, people used to tease me because I grew up in Oakland, so it's kind of like, you kind of have a mean mug. You need to be kind of like tough and stoic. But I couldn't help myself. I just felt like smiling. And there was a lot around us to cry about. It was during like the crack epidemic and like a lot of like killing happening. And it was just bad. But I just felt the need to smile. So kids would tease me like, you smile too much. I'm like, now I don't care. I'm just going to smile because it feels good. And when I'm happy, I'm going to smile and laugh. Yes, I see that too. It's so sad. Love and relationships can be complicated. I'm just here to help them navigate the madness and the goodness. That's right. And they need that. They may not have anyone to talk to about it. Their friends are tired of hearing about them talking about the dude, or a guy who's been seeking love for a long time is not comfortable talking about his guy friends about the challenges, or a widow is like thinking about getting back into dating again, but she's scared, and she doesn't want to burden her adult children. You know what I mean? Like, there's a variety of situations that people come to us for readings, and we hold sacred space for them. So like when dude was like, you're not psychic earlier, the troll, it was like, it's more than to readings than just that. It's way more to readings than just that. And I'm here to dispel all the misinformation. I love in person with people I know, but if I don't know someone, I prefer online. I agree. I think it is a bit better when it's a little distance. Have I did a straight up? I have read for strangers at festivals when people have asked me to work like fairs and festivals. Like autumn time is usually like this time of year. In California, pre-pandemic, I would like work festivals and do quick 1 to 3 cart pulls for people, and so they were strangers, and it was fun. It was different, but that's a different kind of energy too when you're working a fair, like versus online, like a virtual reading in Zoom, or an audio recorded reading, or a video recorded reading, or a phone call if you do phone calls. I prefer virtual for readings as well. It also creates more of a boundary, but love doing healing sessions in person. I agree. I think that's too. And I like when I find that people who do in-person readings, they are like coming for more of a general experience, and usually it ends up turning into a spiritual type reading. And that feels like home and good to me. And I do like kind of a buffer with love readings in person. I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. Yeah, it does create more of a boundary, and I appreciate it because they'll blow you up. They'll be knocking on your door. You want to you want to do a reading for me today? I know we did one yesterday. Boundaries. Aquarian Aries, a cool, collected soul who knows when to say no, channeling your very active energy into healthy service to others, thinking of the bigger picture. Ah, you're super duper honest. Yes, I am. Yes, I can. Yeah, it, I am. But is that an Aquarius trait? I guess. I don't. I never, even as a kid, I never could steal. I wasn't good. I think I tried once taking like a little candy, didn't work. I ended up bringing it back to the store. Never could lie, and I just decided it was because I'm not meant to lie. I'm just meant to deal with the truth. So like there you go. I like both for different reasons, but I prefer in person as I love to see Isn't it cool to see their reactions? They're like their eyes light up. I have a face-to-face reading coming up in a couple of weeks. We scheduled just the other day, and I have a feeling we're gonna have a great time because it's a different dynamic. And I encourage people to try the different methods of reading. You may find that you really love in-person readings more so than virtual readings, or vice versa. So give each mode a try. Even if you're introverted or shy, you may still like the one-on-one connection of a face-to-face reading. So try it out, and it could change over the years. Like um, I was already doing virtual readings, and then the pandemic hit, so that was helpful for me. And then, then when I started craving in-person readings as the pandemic wore on, I'm just like, I just want to meet with somebody one-on-one and do a reading for them, so it can ebb and flow. Yeah, I like that. I'm a before and after kind of girl. I like that. When I do them in person, it's so challenging to decide which decks to take. I usually bring about 10. I know I am the bag lady. I am the bag lady with the decks. I bring my go-to ones, but then I'm like, I do ask them. I'm like, okay, so you don't have to know the questions, but do you know what kind of reading or what you want to ask about? And they're like, yeah, my love life. And maybe my job. I'm like, okay, great. So I'm going to bring my career and money oracle, and I'm going to bring, my ride or die tarot decks I can rely on. I'm going to bring a couple of love oracle, and I might bring my one with the earth, a general working oracle, and go from there. But I do sometimes will ask ahead of time. Otherwise, you just wing it. Spirit's going to deliver the messages as need be through whatever, even through our intuition, through the cards, sure. So, yeah. Boundaries, very important in this work. Oh no, I live in LA. It would be so fun doing face to face. I've never done one before. Really? Oh, I wish I could be your first one. And yes, when will I be in California again? It depends. If they're making me come in to do my driver's test because my driver's license is about to expire, I might have to be out in California. And when I go, I'm planning on not just being up in Northern California. I kind of want to pop into different spots. Southern California. I want to go all the way up the coast where the redwoods are. I just kind of want to make a big, like, coming home visit and like visit my whole state if I can. Obviously, that's a big, tall order, but that's what I plan to do. So my license expires in February. And I will find out, I think next week is the earliest I can go ahead and try to see if I can do it online. If not, like if I can renew my driver's license online, then I'll probably be out in California in April of next year. So yeah, that's cool though. You got to get, oh, I know, I wonder if my very, very first reading when I was 16 was in person at a little psychic shop in Oakland. And yeah, she was accurate. I mean, she predicted a thing that I didn't think was going to happen. She predicted I was bound for college. I'd taken the PSATs at that point, the ACTs. I had a vision. I was going to go to college. She said I wasn't going to go to college right away, and I was about to have a baby. And I was like, "You're lying." And then, like, next year, I was 17. I fell pregnant with my oldest son, and I had him 5 days before I turned 18. So, and she did the cards, but she also like was a palm reader. That's what lured me, because she had like the neon sign with the little hand, And so I was like, my friends and I were like, let's go in and get a reading. And so, like, got a reading. But you could have an amazing virtual reading too. Yes, you can. Um, let's see, where are we? Have you checked out the botanical spiritual shops there? No. This town, from what I know, doesn't really have them, but I do know they're here, and I do plan. Like, one of my friends who's an expat, she lives in the Bay Area, and she's going to be out here, I think, in November, and we were planning on doing a tour. We were going to go to Haiti, but the borders are closed. There's a lot of chaos going on over there, and I'm praying for them. So we ain't going to be able to do that. But we were going to go find some botanical spiritual stores. From what I understand, it's not going to be like the same of like the new agey stores we have in the States, but I'm here for it. Because I do want some different things here for my spiritual tools. So you're a Scorpio sun, Leo rising, and a lot of Scorpio. My blue and my soul name is for water, sun sign. My Leo rising fire. Ooh, I love it. That's how you got your name. It's always interesting to hear how people formulated their names. I love that. See, it's our fire risings that attracts us all together. I'm a Libra sun, Aquarius moon, and Scorpio rising. Oh, look at that. Wow. Air and water. What's the air and water? Sag sun and rising and Libra moon. This is so interesting, because I'm now seeing, like, with you all sharing this, it's like making sense why we all kind of like get along. It's interesting. I'm a Sag moon. Couldn't for the life of me get along with my ex, who was a Sag, like his sun sign was Sagittarius. I'm like, why is that? I don't know. Maybe it was too much fire in the mix. I understand the root of why they're coming, and that's what helps me connect with them and support them with readings and also healing. That's right. And see, that's why I know that you would be an excellent reader, because of that. That's what it takes. Like, a deep well of patience. And sometimes our well does run dry and we have to fill our well back up. But, this is the name of the game right here. I understand the root of why they're coming, and that's what helps me connect with them and support them with readings and also healing. Like, for example, I have a woman who is the other woman in the situation. I could tell her all day, just don't deal with that married man. He ain't gonna ever leave his wife. But it's like, that's not why she came to me for a reading. I need to remove the judgment out and just understand that she's dealing with something. And she's and just the other day we were working together, and she was like, I think I'm just ready to wash my hands of this. And I didn't have to say anything. This was just in the reading, certain things coming up. And what kept coming up over the last few readings we've done on the topic is he isn't going to just readily leave. He's not going to just leave his wife. He's got it good. And and that's what it is. So do with that information as you may. I have no judgment. I know you and him share a special bond. But if what you want is a deep commitment, I don't know, like a deep commitment where he's only committed to you. I don't know. Yes, people are trusting you with their questions. That's right. I agree. I get embarrassed talking to my friends about my love life, and sometimes they don't give me the best advice, and even though they care about me. So I usually go to readers. I appreciate readers. That's right. Like, oh my gosh, the music. Hold on one second, you all. It's gonna distract me. Um, that's right. Like, I remember when I was in my early 20s, the ex that I was talking about, the Sagittarian, he's the father of my son, so we cool now. But back in the day, I was wearing out my friends and my parents and my sister and anybody who would listen about our problems, to the point I they were very gracious, my loved ones. But yeah, I could tell I was tiring them out. And if I, would have thought about it, I probably would have went to a reader to kind of get some guidance, because I was wearing my peeps out. And not only that, there's the judgment of, oh, here we go again. You're dealing with him again. We told you to stop messing with him. I know, I know. And yeah, and sometimes people are well meaning, but this is the individual's journey. And I could say until I'm blue in the face, do X, Y, Z, do this, do that. Do this, do that, do this, do that. It's not for me to necessarily say all that. So yeah, I like that comment a lot. Thank you. Yeah, yep. Got to have your extra. We're like, like remember doctors who do house calls, and they've got their tool, little cache of medical tools, and that's us. We got our. Yeah, you should see me. It's ridiculous. Like my husband, once I picked up the bag, he's like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "It's okay, it's okay. I'm gonna probably use all of them." And I love the folks who just use one tarot deck or one or two decks. I think it's cool. And I practice sometimes just using one deck or just a couple of cards in a reading, just see if I can do that. But I'm the one that loves a lot of cards. I love how they talk together, how the oracle talks to the tarot, or how the tarot talks to other cards on the table. I like readings in person more because the querent can see the cards live and see the messages, images themselves. It's much more visual for them. I know. And I just love how their eyes light up. Or they'll say, "Well, what is that card?" Like they can, it's sometimes I'll purposely just to see if they caught it. And I won't talk about the card. And I just to see, are you paying attention? And they'll be like, "What's that card right there mean?" And I'm like, okay, you are. All right. So it's a different energy and dynamic. And that's why I say I don't want people to rule them out. And I'm introverted, naturally speaking. So if I'm loving in-person face-to-face readings, even at fairs and festivals and carnivals and things, that should say something. Like it's a different energy. Now, all of them can drain you. All the types of readings you could offer and do can drain you, because you're a conduit, right? And you are also interfacing with someone else. And if you're doing multiple readings every day, after a while, again, your well will run dry. So that's just something to be, considerate of for yourself. But I just love it. I mean, love it. I bring 50 of them. Oh, I love that. Yes, I bring 50 of them decks. 50, 11. I love 50 of them. Love them. That's heck of funny. Because, yeah, if we have a lot of decks, why not? Why not? I get decks with the understanding that I want to use them eventually. I used to collect decks just for the artwork or to have that collector's item, knowing that it's going to go out of print soon, and I want to have that deck. But mainly speaking, I'm getting decks because I want to work with them and have them in a reading. So why not? I love that. We do. Oh my gosh. We do have a lot in common. It's like there must be, like, I'm not an astrologist or like astrologer, but I bet you, I wonder if like they did our charts, like it'd be like overlapping things going on. Like I, I've had my chart read before, and I'm like, well, that's cool. I'm just into tarot. Like, but wow. See, I'm glad I admitted that. Some people be all like shaming us and stuff like that, but I'm like, no, this is all a part of my journey. Yes, I was a young mom, and now my son is 25. Yes, I have a 25-year-old. It is a true story. And a 21-year-old. I started young, but I also have a 12-year-old because I had a new relationship. So I lived. She lived. I've learned that people have to be done for themselves, and all I can do is hold space for them until they come to that conclusion on their own. That's right. And when we understand that, that's what helps us not deplete our well, because we're not getting overly invested in what our client is doing. It's like, I'm here to hold space. And once this call ends, or once I click off the recorder, or once I leave this session, that's for them to hold on to. But I can hold space for them, and it's better, and it sticks better when the conclusion comes from the querent versus me force feeding it. And we learn that with just giving advice to our friends, right? Like, you didn't listen to one thing I said, because they're not ready to listen to what you have to say. They have to figure that out on their own. That's right. Have you ever done a reading for someone that completely drained you because of the querent's own energy, or a tough reading for someone who just wasn't getting it? Oh my God, yes. Yes. It happened a couple of times on the hotlines. Not so much for like the clients who come through like Etsy or my website, because it's like, usually if it were Zoom or face to face, it's just a little different. But also, especially, it's different because if it's recorded, um, there's no give and take. And if they have a follow-up question after the reading, after I send them the link to the video or the audio recording, then we hash it out there. But they usually get it. But it's the hotlines. Every now and then, like, their energy is scattered. It's all over the place. It's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And they're firing off questions. And you're like, wait a minute, I didn't even get the first question. Hold on. Time out. Yes, I have gifts, contrary to some people's beliefs. Yes, I have gifts, but I'm also still very much a human being. You're gonna have to slow down. You're gonna have to allow me to tap in a bit. And then there's some people where I could tell that they were just also not wanting to hear what I have to say, because it does me no good to sugarcoat or hide the truth of what I'm seeing in the card. So I say it as tactfully as I can. But every now and then they may not argue with me, but they'll be like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm like, well, why don't you sit with this message for a minute and then come back to me later if you want, further clarity. But maybe there's something you're not ready to receive just yet from this reading, but you will be ready to receive later. But yeah, that frenetic energy, or they're firing off a million questions. It's like, ooh, I don't know. Are you on a time crunch, or can we take the time to properly connect here? What do you want? Because right now it's giving frenetic, and it's giving, I need to hang up this. I need to hang up. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'm too nervous for ferrets. I respect folks who do. Yeah. I couldn't believe, I was like, I can't believe I had said yes. It was actually at my daughter's school. So that's what got me into that circuit. Um, that's what got me into it. So it felt like a safe zone. It was the Harvest Festival. And they were like, oh, we need, people to come and be here and be a part of the festival. And someone heard like, oh, she does readings. Oh, that'd be perfect for the Harvest Festival. So I set up. And I had big burly construction workers coming and sitting down after they got off work. I had, housewives who were curious, and I ended up picking up a regular client from that situation. It was interesting. It was interesting. So, and then from there, I was like, oh, if there's like a little local like event, and they're open to having readers there, I was like, I'll do it. I'll do it for afternoon. Why not? Or evening. Let's do it. My favorite, though, I don't know if any of you have done this before. Have you ever did Zoom like readings for like girls' night ins, or this became a thing for me when I was dealing with the pandemic and reading. And everybody was dealing with the pandemic. And people still wanted to have like bachelorette parties, or they still wanted to get together with their girlfriends, but they had to do it virtually. So I started getting hired on for like couples readings, group readings. I even was part of like a going away party for a work meeting. And that was like, I guess, streamed in their conference room. The conference, like, and then all the people are sitting around in the conference room and getting readings. It was so much fun. And that was like, I don't know if I would have really gotten into that but for the pandemic, you know? Let me see what you said. I was a young mom too. I have a 20-year-old and an 8-year-old. Oh, see, we see, got that in common. And so, yes, it's just like us young mamas, we do it. And so people be like, you look too young to have a 25-year-old. I'm like, well, the truth is, like, but you know, there's something to be said about that. We got a lot of experience under us as mamas, young mamas. I deeply resonate with them. People hear the message when they're ready to receive it. I've totally been on both sides. Yep, I have. I think for us who have been on both sides can really help those people, because we're like, I was there. And so one day I had a light bulb moment, like, I'm tired of chasing people who don't want to be with me. This sucks. And so life changed once I was like, I'm done with this. But I had to get done. That was on me to get done with that. So it didn't happen any sooner. My oldest is 23. Dear daughter, 18 and 12. Oh, look at that. We do have a lot in common. And finally, you have an 8-month-old. You're starting over. God. I think I'm now just at that precipice of being too old. But every now and then I see a baby and I'm like, I get baby fever, seriously. But I think now I'm at this point like, well, one of my kids will give me a grandbaby, I'm sure. Maybe one day. I don't want to pressure them. I'm not going to pressure them. But I get baby fever. I'm like, but I know me. I'm like, there's no way. My baby right now is my tarot business. So, but I do get baby fever. If you were near, I babysit your baby to get over my baby fever. Because I got it. I get it. Aren't we all synchronized? Look how we all came together. We are a soul tribe. Yes, we are. I was hired for a party before the pandemic for an opening of a business. Best to do it, like corporate little events. So much fun. I read for the clients. I did an astrological birth chart for the company as well. How cool is that? I also worked on a website for video read. It's so much fun. And it's like, you can go corporate. That's another direction that folks can go in that they don't probably think about. Like, that's a whole nother. And so when people be like, this is just a 2-pony contract. No, I read for engineers and politicians and all sorts of people, brainiacs, computer folk, business associates, my fellow like upper management, like when I was reading in the office for folks. Can't believe they were letting me get away with that. I got away with a lot probably because I was a reader. But there's all these different avenues you could go to deliver your gifts. It's really cool. It's really cool. I know, right? I'm like, to have one more baby. Oh my God, I would just eat that baby up. But I'm like, I did tell myself I was done. So I just got to love on other people's babies, I guess. That's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to love on your baby. And I'm here for babysitting duty. Like, I'm good. I'm good at it. I'm good. Babies are they're lovely around me and I love them. And I just could hold them forever and spoil them in that way. So just be forewarned. I would spoil your baby. Yes, it's so cool. That's so cool. It's so brilliant. I saw a psychic tarot reader, rune reader, medium when I was 15, 16. And he told me I moved to another country when I was 26. Live by the beach, learn another language, and travel the world. All happened Isn't that a trip? Isn't that a trip? Yeah, you can't tell me that they don't know. I mean, fine. I don't care if the people think that it's phony baloney. For me, it's real. And if for you, it's real too. So that's all that it matters. That's so cool. And see, we were both young. That must be another part of our little soul community over here. Like, how many of us have gotten readings at young ages? Yeah, I know. Yeah. Being a mama, it's cool, it's lovely, but you know what I'm finding is now being a mom of adults, they don't really talk much about that phase. And I'm learning as I go. And it's a whole different set of boundaries, and it's just interesting. Mamahood is definitely different. I appreciated the gift. And you know, it's funny. I was talking to my mom last year about this when I was visiting in California. And I was like, if I had known, like, I think I had to be young and not, I hate to say young and dumb because we weren't young and dumb as young women. We just, we just had to try some things. But you were ignorant to how much hard work being a young mother would be. Had I known, I probably wouldn't even gone into motherhood, period. I probably would have been like, that's not for me. So it kind of was a blessing that I just was like, I don't know. And I just ended up being a mom, but that doesn't work for everybody. And I get it. And I understand it. It's a lot of work. And each little child has their own little personality and, it's all the things. I have a Leo sun and Gemini rising. Oh. Strong Cancer and Leo in my chart, and I was told by an astrology that I am an emotional thinker. Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Oh, I love that. Love me some Gemini energy. It is amazing. That's so amazing. Oh, my friends, this has been so much fun. I read for all types as well. I had see, yeah, and that's another thing. We read for other, like, all types of people. It's always so fascinating who gets a reading, right? You're like, you're getting a reading? Preachers and the people of the cloth have come to me for readings. And I'm like, for real? For real. I read for all types of as well. I had a fashion coordinator for singer Coco Jones the other day. Isn't that so cool? It's like everybody could benefit from a reading. And it kind of validates for us to, like, we what we do is real and cool and appreciate it. When I worked for the insurance company, we were bought out by another company. I had a VP ask me for an astrology chart and another for a tarot reading. We would do them in the conference room. That's a common thing in the insurance industry, sadly, of insurance. The last company I worked for, I could say it now, was Esurance, and it was bought out by Allstate. And now I don't think there's any more Esurance. I mean, they absorbed the employees and they went off to work for either Allstate or subsidiaries. And then before that, I worked for USAA Insurance. I'm all giving you my resume. Then you can see it on my LinkedIn. And then Zurich was where I started. And I worked at other little itty bitty insurance companies that were bought out or, absorbed and whatnot. But those were the big ones that I worked for. But yeah, going into the conference rooms or in someone's office, we were doing that we were showing up doing that. Yes. I love this. It's real. End of discussion. It is real. That's right. There's a saying, what's the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire? The billionaire gets tarot readings. I forgot who said it, but he's rich. Hello. Hello. That's right. It's real. Yeah. Hey, my friend. You know what? I was thinking about you because I was like, one of these days we are to finally do our joint collaboration video. I hope you're up for it. I hope you're doing well. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. Yeah, we got to get together and chit chat. That's Auntie K's Tarot Insights, one of my favorite channels. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards for us. before we wrap up from this intuitive, like, oh, you guys are going to get a kick out of this, intuitive life coaching oracle. This bad boy. So in a way, we are doing a collective reading before we wrap up. I didn't realize I was going to be on this long, but you all had some great questions, and it was so good to catch up with you. I miss being in this environment with you all. I really did. I was like, I miss y'all. I've been around. Let's see. Okay, so let's see the cards. The first one that jumped is nourishment. Nourishment. This is like food for our souls, right? Food for our souls. What I usually call this time on Thursdays is Tarot Love Clinic, but it's not for like us delivering readings. It's us to get loved up, get nourished. It says you are being asked to take time out for self-care. And nourishment can be nourishment for the, the mind, body, and spirit. And yeah, you all are giving me nourishment. And I hope today's conversation was nourishing for you and life affirming for you. Even a little bit. Then we got synchronicities. Now, ain't this a trip? But this card out of how many cards? 70, 80? I don't know, 70, I think. Synchronicities. We were talking all about that today, right? Look out for the synchronicities. Look out for the signs. There may be something you are going through. And you're like, I just need a sign. Your sign is coming. Maybe this reading is your sign. It says, allow the magic to unfold as synchronistic events lead you in a new direction. Wake up call. This is an interesting one. You're about to discover your life purpose. That message is probably for a few of us in the chat. Maybe for me. I feel like I'm living a good chunk of my life purpose, but you never know. It can evolve. But this is a message for those who have been wondering. You're about to stumble, or maybe you already know what it is, but now it's going to finally peek out. It's going to finally break the soil, and emerge. And you'll be clear. You'll have maybe this live today brought nourishment for you to help you feel confident and comfortable to step out. You notice all the synchronicities, or you will have more synchronicities to come. Yeah, you're on your way. You're well on your way to a wake up call. And the guidebook, just so y'all know, is amazing with this deck, but it's kind of wordy. I'm not gonna read it, but yeah. Hi, I am, and I would love to. Let's see. I've been held hostage by art muses. Your art muses are hanging out with you. That's a blessed thing. That is a blessed thing. And you and I will make arrangements. I would love to collaborate. So I was slick excited. I love Coco's music, right? Isn't that so exciting? Like, yeah, it's like, this is legit. Like, this is cool. This is us, You could be, tarot reader to the stars. That's another avenue you could go, that people go in. Hello from Portugal. Does David have romantic feelings for you? I don't know. I'm not doing readings for that today, my dear. I thank you for joining me. I do readings for I do pulls. We're just not doing them today, but usually Thursdays I will offer that. And I also notify ahead of time in my community tab when I'm going to be doing like card pulls for folks. So keep a lookout for that. I do love readings. I do, clearly. Yes, I know. Oh, don't call me out with that nourishment card, right? And maybe you need some nourishment. Maybe that's literal nourishment. Like, I haven't really eaten all day today. So that could be like, Kim, as soon as this live stream is over, go get yourself some nourishment, especially before you start doing readings. Otherwise, you're going to be hangry. You don't want to be hangry. Yeah. Thank you, my dear. We're wrapping up here right now. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today on this live and hanging out with me. The storm has passed, and you were with me through the storm, and that's kind of interesting, right? Kind of metaphorically speaking. But I do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all so much for your thoughtful questions, your wonderful conversation today. Stay blessed. Take good care of yourselves. And I'm going to see you all soon. And hey, Auntie Kay, you and I will talk offline and see when we can get together, just to catch up. I can't wait to see how you're doing, see how those muses are treating you. All right, friends. Bye for now.